guys ever see that video of the like African preacher interview where he's like, "Why are you gay?"
No.
Is
this like one? Some pray the gay away type stuff?
Sort of, because in Africa they're a lot they're not as liberal as we are here. This one.
I've seen this guy before.
What I love about this video is that it's a serious conversation between these two people. Like, they're being serious, but to me it just sounds like us just talking shit to each other. Why are you gay?
We bring in the studio this morning one of the gay rights activists, Mr. Should I call you Mr? Sure. Pepe Julian Onzima. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you for
Good morning.
Me. Morning to you.
Why are you gay?
Who says I'm gay?
You are gay. You are a transgender.
What shows that I'm gay?
You are a transgender, yes, and you're a gay rights activist and an outspoken lesbian, homosexual. How can I describe you?
Why do I feel like this is just me talking shit to Grant?
You're a gay rights activist. Why should someone be gay? You're having a girlfriend.
I mean, I look like a lesbian right now.
Do you perform the natural obligations?
I'm not.
He's like not even being rude.
Right
he's like
now.
genuinely confused.
So what's the choice, lady?
By choice.
By
His
choice.
journalistic duty right now.
Yeah.
I've just not. I've chosen not to engage.
Doesn't that make you gay?
Wait, what?
What do you mean? Doesn't that make me gay? I am male and attracted to a female.
So who is gay?
Oh, I see.
Oh god.
So he was a transgender who liked women. So he's like straight, but
female,
gotcha.
Anyway, so that brings us back to so Grant.
That was funny.
Why are you gay?
Why are you gay? Do you ever feel like with that accent sometimes it's like they're missing a letter in between each word, and like how the pause is?
Yeah,
it's like
that's what I love about fucking Joe Rogan's joke about it. Like, make fun of a California accent. What are you gonna do? Speak fucking clearly so everybody can understand you?
No, you're gonna sound like me. That's how you're gonna fucking make fun of a California accent, dude. When it was funny, I was thinking about this like literally this morning. How I grew up with all these people in the same exact place, and somehow like they ditched like how I talk. You know what I mean?
I don't even.
Okay. You say that. You say that, but then everyone else is like, dude, you talk way too much like a fucking surfer dude, or like, you know, like you talk like you're way too Californian.
That's so funny.
And it's like people that have grown up in the same fucking area. I'm like, how come you can talk like a news anchor and I talk like this? And I don't even know which like syllables I'm pronouncing that make it that way.
That's funny.
You know?
Maybe I'm so Californian I don't hear it, but yeah, I just.
But you don't sound as Californian, I feel like. Maybe it's because you're brown.
Do I sound like I'm gay?
Definitely homosexual.
You're transgender.
Have you seen the Californian skit on SNL?
No.
Please look it up real quick. Real quick. It's so fucking funny. And also, another thing we need to talk about is how the rest of the country doesn't say the before their freeways. Like the 405 and the 5. Like it's just Southern California. Even Northern California, they'll say like 405. They don't use the between.
What are they, like how? Like they're like, I'm on 5?
Well, that's what I asked. And then Allie was like, yeah. And everywhere else does that too. And I guess the reason is because we looked up the history of why this is. And it's because in California, the roads used to be called like the Dominguez Highway or like the something highway. But then they, over time, right, they evolved into 405 and 5. So the never left. And like the 405 and the 5 because they used to have an actual name.
That's funny.
Anyway, this shit is hilarious.
Get out of here! Get on the 405 until you can't take it anymore. Like to Ventura?
But it's fucking so funny.
That's like an actual show.
Yeah, it's like, I was watching a cooking show where they were like taking apart this octopus to like make, and I was like, dude, this is fucking disgusting.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I could never be like I don't even think I could be a butcher. I mean, maybe I could. That's not true. Maybe it's just because octopuses are nasty, but
yeah.
Like,
what's weird is when they eat that shit alive. Like they'll like cut something off and it's still wiggling,
like,
and then they
you see the ones that's like a delicacy in like Korea or whatever where they just eat the squid.
Yeah.
And like, dude, I don't want to have to eat something that's fighting back like that.
I know.
Can you imagine? Like, that's crazy that they just swallow that shit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, do you even taste it? Like, what is the appeal there?
Do you feel it when you're digesting it? Is it in your stomach? You know what I mean? Like,
right? Like, what is it? like you feel it all the way down. I imagine it doesn't just die because it's in your fucking throat.
It's trying to crawl back up.
Well, that's what it does when they have the chopsticks to like force it down.
Oh my
and
God.
stuff. It's like.
Oh my God.
Reminds me of like Finding Nemo when they're hanging on like the tongue of the whale or whatever, and he's like, "No, no."
Speaking of which, did you maybe forcing something down your throat? Actually, that's the wrong way to talk about David.
Why are you looking at
This
me?
is not
Did David tell
just
you?
turned into casting couch.
Did David tell you if I can save my life the other day?
Oh, we talked about this.
Oh, did we talk about
it? When did we talk about that? Yeah, that you were choking on steak.
Yeah, I've never choked on anything before in my life. I mean, maybe when I was a baby, but I don't remember. Like,
Did
I've
it feel
never...
invigorating? Do you kind of get the appeal now?
No, I would be a terrible boyfriend or girlfriend. I'd be a terrible gay. But dude, no, it was weird because we were running late for this Korean barbecue dinner, and if you don't know how Korean barbecue works, they don't fucking seat you until your whole party's there. So we were running late. I was running late as it was. We went to the wrong fucking place. That pissed me off even more. And I haven't eaten all day, so I'm starving. So we get there in a rush. Everyone's all fucking eager to eat, and they put down the meat, and there's this big fat slab, and you cut it with scissors, and the scissors were really dull. So I tried cutting it, but it wasn't really working, and I was like pissed off and impatient. So I was like, "Fuck it, I'll just take a big bite and chew it." So I didn't chew it enough, and I go to swallow, and it goes down and it gets stuck, and I just keep trying to swallow. And I'm like, and then like the first couple times, it's like it'll go down,
Yeah.
it'll go down, but it's not going down. So then there's that moment of panic where I'm like, do I make a scene? Like, do? I don't want to embarrass myself. I don't want to like upset
I'll just die quietly over
everyone.
here.
Yeah. So finally, I start panicking because I'm like, it's not going down. Luckily, David's sitting next to me, and I motion him. I'm like, so he fucking.
You didn't do the
stands up.
universal choke sign? Or whatever?
Yeah, I think I was pointing,
much, yeah.
and he stood up and he gave me the Heimlich in front of everybody. It was I'm so bummed I couldn't get the security cam footage because he gave me the Heimlich and it shot out and I caught it in my hand. And the best part is all the tables around us are like looking like in horror. They're all like, "Oh my God," like they're in shock. Meanwhile, our table, it's Alex O'Brien's birthday party full of like fucking jujitsu guys and his fucking Mexican ass family and shit. They're all just laughing their asses off. they're just like, oh, we almost died. Oh God, that's why I love those guys. I wouldn't have it any other way.
I'd be so embarrassed.
I was bummed for sure, and I was like, fucking like, "Hey, I'm still here, aren't I?" Daddy Dorp's famous line.
Yep.
Oh
Man,
my
say so.
God.
So I don't know if that's come up on the podcast yet, but thank you, Daddy Dorp. I already owed you a lot. Now I owe you my fucking life too. Sorry, it's not worth much. Alrighty, so we're going. We're officially here.
Oh yeah.
All right. Cheers, my friends.
Cheers,
Mr. Grant, Mr. David,
David.
to them good old Huntington boys.
Are you guys gonna just all in one or what?
That's up to you.
Oh.
I'm shooting it.
Oh,
I'm shooting. Yeah.
I need inspiration. All right, Grant, you can do this. You can do this. No big deal.
Peggy Hill. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Don't do that. Don't make me laugh.
Sorry.
Oh.
I wasn't trying to.
Oh man.
Dang it, Bobby.
All right.
God damn it, Bobby.
Finally, after multiple sound tests, we can finally drink our whiskey and open our beers.
I know, dude. After the third sound test, I'm like, okay, that's a wrap. We're done for the podcast for the day.
I know.
That's it, right?
Time to go.
Oh, little do I know.
Oh man. Alrighty. Well, now that we're officially going, welcome, Grant.
Okay, let me just wipe my whiskey tears.
You're good.
Ready to
You're
go.
good. Welcome to the podcast. Officially, I know you've been on here a couple times before, but this is your first official episode. Wanted to have you on here as soon as possible. One of my top 10 episodes. Definitely one of my top 10 peeps for
I'm
sure.
honored. What number am I?
You're number 4. I wanted to have you number 3, but you were busy, so I ended up getting my stepbrother in.
I want to be a number 7.
Why, is that your favorite number or something?
Is one of them, yeah.
Ah, gotcha.
Could we like push this out?
Yeah, I could record
No, I'm just
some
kidding.
record some other ones, then upload you at number 7. Nah, what if something happens though? What if we're like talking about how great
Something is. And it's
Kanye's
not
already
relevant anymore.
fucked? Who's a musical artist? How great like Will Smith is fucked too. Who hasn't embarrassed themselves? Who everyone loves?
Oh man, who do people love? Right
Louis
now?
C.K. What did he do?
Dude, Taylor Swift.
Taylor, yeah,
she's pretty.
She's still up there.
Yeah,
She's up there right now.
If we start talking about how much we love Taylor Swift and all of a sudden she starts saying she loves Hitler or something like that, then we're going to look like assholes.
Man, that would be a fucking arc, wouldn't it?
Her and Kanye team up.
Yeah, dude, that would be like... I'm not gonna I'm not saying it's a good move by any means, but god damn would they make some money, dude? Because there's not a soul alive not listening to that.
West Swift 2024.
Bro, I like it. I
could totally see Alex O'Brien rocking the hats and the shirts.
Oh, 100%.
Proudly. Socks. Oh man. Well, one thing I definitely want to... I mentioned it before, but since I have you here in person, I have to mention... we are in Cruz's Corner Studios right now, named after the podcast, who the inspiration of the name of the podcast came from Mr. Grant over here.
Oh, stop.
So I'll always have to thank you for that, because for the longest time, there was like a long period of time where we wanted to do various kind of projects. Like, I know you and Alex are doing like Probably Hungover, and you're thinking about doing your own thing. And we were all sitting around at the bar one time I was trying to brainstorm a name for my podcast. I couldn't fucking think of it. And then Grant's just like, honestly, dude, just call it Cruz's Corner. And it was just like, oh, fuck, why didn't I think of that?
Well, it's funny, too, because, like, back in the day when we were in high school and we'd just be playing, like, Super Smash Bros. In your mom's garage, and you just had that sign that said Cruz's Corner hung up hung up in, like, the area over there. And we were just playing on, like, beanie bags and stuff, and I'm, like, thinking, like, you already have the fucking sign and everything. I don't know a better name. The alliteration's great, you know?
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, sir. Because
dude, my pleasure.
I feel like a big part that was holding me back was not having a name that I felt was like sounded good, and then getting that seed planted definitely helped get me going. And then there's a long time where I was recording shit without uploading it, and years later, dude, I think it's been like fucking 5 years. I think it's been 5 or 6 years since that day, because I had just turned. Well, we were all 21. Yeah, it's probably been like 5 or 6 years since that day happened, and here we are.
I know, dude. It's crazy.
What a journey it's been. Speaking of journeys, congratulations, Mr. Grant, on the birth of your first born child.
Oh yeah,
baby girl.
6 months old now.
Yeah, Emerson.
Almost 7 months.
Emerson Jean Huntington.
Emerson Jean, baby.
Yeah, she's gonna be watching
MJ,
this one day.
Emmy, Emerson.
God damn, my dad was skinny.
Dude, no. I'm hoping she says, "God damn, my dad was fat." Dude, he's way more jacked now.
That's funny. Yeah, that's true.
I hope. I don't know. We'll see.
That's a good way of looking at it. Yeah. No, I'm right there with you, man.
I'm post dad bod right now. This is like. Hopefully as fat as I'll be.
You don't look bad. Every time we talk, you're like, "Oh, I'm so fat right now," but I see
you gotta be self-deprecating though, because if you think I do look good, then you just give up.
Yeah,
you're like,
that's true.
You're like, I don't need anybody. And you can buy the 6-pack.
I know.
I don't know. I've been drinking. I just feel like I've been drinking so much beer, and I gotta chill because Allie's on like the new phase. Ever since like after she gave birth, she's been just loving like IPAs, and she hasn't really been about like beers in general for a long time.
Wow.
So now we've been like drinking so much beer and playing fucking Switch golf. So it's
nice.
like.
Not too lazy to even leave the house for real golf. You're like, let's just drink beer and play at the house.
Dude. Exactly. Like, it's just hard. Like, with the baby, it's hard to leave because there's so much, like, accoutrement that comes with the fucking kid, you know?
Yeah.
Like, the stroller, the toys, the diapers, the wipes, all that good stuff, you know? The baby.
Yeah. Don't forget the baby.
The baby.
That'd be hilarious. You get to the airport, you're like, where's the baby?
Home Alone situation, except much, much worse.
Yeah, right. Oh, God. Yeah, man, I've just been feeling like shit. Just like fucking fat gut, double chin.
Dude, I hate it. Like, I feel like it's like I'm just never been less motivated. Like, I feel like it's harder. Like, it used to be so easy to be motivated, and I feel like these days it's like really hard to like stay motivated on that kind of stuff. You know?
Yeah. Well, especially with the baby, because it's not that you're not motivated in general. It's just that your motivation is being channeled.
Yeah, but I feel like I like it less too. Like when I work out, I'm like, dude, fuck this, bro.
Yeah.
Like I used to love it. Like I used to be like, man, I feel so much better. And maybe it's because I'm not going to like an actual gym or something, or like the ritual's thrown off that way or something.
Gotcha. Or you're working out in like
just like the apartment gym. I mean, lately I've just been running. I've just been doing like 3-mile runs, and that's what I've been doing.
Been running?
Yeah, last month and a half or so. Ever since I moved complexes, because I don't really like the gym, but I'm like, I want to lose weight. But I guess I'll just fucking run.
Where do you go?
There's like a trail by my house that I'll go like I'll go up and around because it like kind of makes a fat circle like around my apartment complex, and it's like pretty with all the mustard plants and stuff that are sprouting out right now. So I'll do that, but I've been like kind of exploring the area because I just moved like farther in San Clemente. So I told myself before this I was not gonna say anything geographical.
No one's gonna come get you, dude.
No, I know, but
CIA.
yeah, exactly. Now they know where
The address is.
you have no idea how off grid my apartment is.
Anybody who you're afraid of coming and getting you already knows where you are. That's the thing.
Facts.
Sorry, you're saying.
But yeah, I've just been kind of exploring, like running around the complex, and there's like a bunch of parks right there that the trails like lead off and all over Talega and stuff. So
That's cool.
yeah, I'm
I
trying.
I remember when I used to run, I kind of looked at it like like when you start a video game and like the map's obscure, and then as you travel, like you unlock areas on the map.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's like you can't see the map, and then like Oblivion or something, then you go in that direction, then it becomes clear.
Yeah.
It is like just like that. Like the other day, I ran through the park, and then I ran through this neighborhood, then it led back out. It spat me out at this like cross street. I'm like, oh, what the fuck? How do I get over here?
Yeah,
and then like ran back the other way. That is like
I never knew that fucking connected over here.
Yeah, that is a fun part about like if you kind of move somewhere less that you know less, and then you like start to explore, and you're like, what the fuck? Where am I? I'm like, oh, I know where I am. You know?
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, that's how it felt with when we were in wrestling running, and you'd run like all around these neighborhoods, and you're like, this is so weird. I've never been in this neighborhood, would never go this neighborhood, and now I know this neighborhood inside and out.
Totally,
You know?
yeah. I'm still kind of. I don't run right now, but I'm like that when I walk the dogs.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll like take them up through a neighborhood and like I never go left here. I'm gonna go left, and then sometimes you reach a dead end, but sometimes it takes you to a trail, and then like you said, it spits you out on some main street. It's like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Fucking area unlocked. Fucking 10 XP.
Yeah, exactly.
Leveling up slowly. All right. Well, so especially with somebody like you, who I value as a friend very much, I like to take this opportunity of the first official episode to kind of try to get a little bio on you, some character development.
Dude, I don't know what my bio should be now.
Well, let's start at the beginning, Grant. Where did it all begin?
So I was
Orange
born
County boy.
born in a log cabin in Orange County. Orange County.
Abraham Grantington.
Yeah. Been in Dana Point all my life, and I'm still here. Well, San Clemente. But
Yeah.
Dude, I don't know. What's bio? Give me like a prompt. My name is Grant Huntington.
Grant Emerson Huntington.
I like to party.
Let me start there actually. So where does you got Emerson's your middle name.
Yeah.
Emerson's your daughter's name.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I know it's after the daughter, but Emerson is also the name of your wife's candle company.
Right.
Where does this Emerson name come from?
Well, I my great grandpa, I think his middle name was also Emerson, so it was like a family name of some variety. I forget who has it. I don't think I ever met the relative that did, but it was somewhere in the family. And then I'm assuming it's from Ralph Waldo Emerson, like the philosopher, but I'm not
Relation or
not relation. Just I'm sure maybe he was like my great grandpa might have been named after that. I'm not sure.
Okay.
I don't know where it really derives, but I really I hated it when I was growing up. Really like it now because I feel like it just sounds so fun, and I really like it for a girl's name because I feel like it's like strong, but there's so much variety there that she can. Because one thing growing up, I always hated that I had no like abbreviated name, no nickname, because like Grant is so short. Same with like Cruz, you know.
Yeah,
but you still got like Cruzzy and that's about it. I guess.
Good old G Blunt.
G Blunt, yeah. But I'm like, I remember people like Nicholas. You were Nick, William. You could be a bunch of things, you know.
Yeah.
So then like Emerson Jean, I like that she can be like MJ. I like that she can be Emmy. I like that she can be Emma. Like she can just be M. Like she has a lot of options there, you know. Very versatile.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then the candle company. Well, Allie was like getting into making beeswax candles. Because they're the only candle that you can burn that's like not harmful during pregnancy. And she kind of found that out when she was pregnant, and she's like, "Oh, I can't burn any of these fucking soy candles."
Damn.
And Allie's like a big bath girl, so she likes to like make the ambiance and you know, light the stuff. So that's where that came from.
Nice.
Yeah.
What was it like for you growing up in Orange County? Like,
Sorry.
because I don't know. I always say, out of all my friends, I think you're the only friend that I know who actually had like a functional family with like a mom and a dad, who
Like a
actually
nuclear family?
Yeah, who actually love, like they're not divorced, they're not fucking, they're not still together but hate each other, you know, like
Yeah, dude, I don't know. But then there's also the Orange County thing, like even with my family, like raised by au pairs, you know? Like we always had just a bunch of nannies growing up until we were like probably in middle school.
Really?
Oh yeah, like I had like 3 or 4 different nannies from the time I was like 2 to 12 maybe, or 10.
Do they call you Master Grant?
Like Carly was like raised by fucking nannies.
Damn.
No, I mean my nanny's name was like Dolores, Mexican lesbian lady.
Dolores.
I never knew she was lesbian because her partner just looked like a really like strong dude, to be honest. And then when I found that out, I was shocked because, like, you know, when you're young, you don't really know anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember like she'd take me over to her house. I'd have like lays with Tapatio and lime juice.
No wonder. Dude, one time Grant had a frozen burrito over here, and he's like, "Oh, do you have any sriracha?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he just like a layer of sriracha, like a centimeter thick on top of the thing. I was like, "Oh my god, dude."
Bro, I think my taste buds are like damaged. I'm so bummed because I love like bitter things. Like I love like hot sauce. I love fucking black coffee. I love like IPAs, and I think it's just fucking my mouth up because I'm like, things just don't taste good anymore.
That's
like, yeah, and I don't like it, but it's just like I can't. Like I used to joke because I feel like it's hard for me to even have a meal without a hot sauce.
That's funny. Yeah. I feel that for
like,
sure.
I mean, it's different when you go to like a nice restaurant, but even then, I'm like, this might be better if I had like some cayenne pepper or something.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Little
Same here.
Something.
Like, the only thing I won't add like hot sauce to is like steak, and even then, it's like, do you have any jalapenos?
Yeah.
You know, like it's not sauce, but it's spicy.
Yeah, and that's like for that reason I feel like I'm not a big steak guy. Like I love I like the chicken because it's so versatile and I can add so many different like sauces to it. You know?
Yeah.
Usually all of the spicy variation. You know?
Yeah.
Like a nice green hot sauce or like whatever buffalo. Yeah, there's like so much there you can do. Like zesty lemon. Like it's so easy to dress up. Whereas like steak, it's like okay, you put like salt, pepper, maybe some steak sauce or whatever. Yeah. And it's still good, but it's just like I like shit that's spicy. That's more like a savory kind of thing. But
damn, dude. So I see. This is why I like doing these kind of like introductory podcasts, because I'm sure we're gonna do more episodes in the future. But like, if it's the first one, I want to get some stuff that like some character development. So So fucking Master Grant was raised by nannies over here. I didn't know that.
I mean, both my parents worked like 9 to 5s until I was thinking I was in high school before my dad started his own business, and then my mom started working from home more. But then she still had the nanny because we would just bug the shit out of her. So she needed like a nanny to like, hey, can you entertain my children, please?
Yeah.
And I remember specifically, I was such a little shit sometimes. I'd be like flinging applesauce at the nanny like under the table.
Oh
like,
my
Get
god!
away! Get away from me! You're not my mom. Hey, wanna know what's crazy about parents too? Like, when you were a kid, what do you remember going on? Did you ever go on a vacation? Like, what kind of vacation?
Yeah.
What was like your first memorable vacation?
Chronologically, I'm not sure, but I went to Mexico one time with my mom and Julie and Annika, and then we went to Denmark one time. Julie's like step family.
Okay, let's talk about that
there.
Denmark trip. When you went to Denmark, did you sightsee?
Yeah.
And when you went to Denmark, like, was it something you guys all wanted to do? Whose idea was it?
I'm sure it was my mom and Julie, because Julie has family out there, and we'd always want to go. But isn't it so? I don't know if this is where you're going with this, but like one thing that I reflect on is how funny, stupid little shit kids are. Because like I felt inconvenienced having to go to Europe and see castles and fucking like statues that were hundreds of years old. Like, oh, I just want to be home playing PlayStation.
Yeah,
you know, like,
dude. I know. I'm like, we're going to Hawaii again.
Yeah, exactly.
Can we just go for like 4 days? Oh, we're going for 10 days. You know what's funny though, where I was going with this is I feel like my parents, they just dragged us along. Like we went to vacations and they do like the surf club stuff.
Yeah.
And they do their thing and get drunk with their friends, and then we were just there. Like
it
wasn't like it wasn't like we're gonna have fun with the family and sightsee and play. And like some of that did happen, but it's so funny in hindsight where I'm like, man, they were just out there partying, having their life, and like raising their kids on the side. Like it was so funny.
But now that you have your own kid, would you do it the same?
I don't know. I mean, I definitely have brought Emerson 2 bars already, like, and she's not inconveniencing me too much in that way. Except I'll tell you what, you never feel more unwanted till your baby cries in a restaurant. Baby crying in a restaurant, you're like, wow, everyone fucking wants me murdered. I think the only thing worse is maybe an airplane. But like, yeah, I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but I feel like I want like because I was thinking too, it's so weird how I feel like after a certain age, parents want to travel less with family. Like, me and my family have not gone on a vacation since I was like a freshman in high school.
Oh yeah.
And it's like not even like talked about to like how, but it seems like it'd be the most fun to do like a Europe trip when everyone's like 21 and like can like party and like have mutual like interests and stuff.
And then your kids are old enough to like maybe pay for themselves a little bit, you know?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
because I'm like, I feel like I'd be like hopping on that train, dude. I don't have to pay for you. You can actually do stuff, have fun.
Yeah.
But
yeah, no, I totally, like I was saying, like I feel so, I mean, I know as a little kid I didn't know any better, but like I feel so like cringy and like embarrassed of myself looking back on like my mom would take me on these sick fucking vacations. Like we went to Oregon one time, went to Alaska, we went to Hawaii, we went to like Denmark, Mexico, and like all I remember is how badly I didn't want to be there. Whereas like now I would kill to have fucking 5 days in Mexico.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I would, but like that just sounds like so much fun. Yet then it was like, all I could think about is how like, I'm almost done with Crash. I'm like halfway through Crash Bandicoot 2. You know?
I know, dude, it's so funny because it's like something, it's hard. I don't know who can make a kid feel like they're not, I mean, that's just such a kid thing. Like it's so hard to like, it's so hard to appreciate it in the moment when you're that age.
Yeah.
And also it's hard to visualize that like things are hard to do. Like things are expensive and it's hard to like actually financially make stuff like that happen.
Exactly.
So it's like
it's like, look at this castle has been here for 500 years. It's like, okay, that means nothing to me. I'm fucking 10.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, what does
like,
500 years mean?
The castle in my video game has been there for like a million.
Exactly,
so
dude. Totally.
You know?
That's a really good point too. I feel like with like, it was probably different for like our grandparents and their grandparents. Like if they saw something, if they saw a castle, it was like, whoa, what's that? Whereas if you're a kid today, you grow up watching TV shows and movies and playing video games especially, because you can go in the castle.
Yeah.
You can have your own castle.
Oh, and then like with VR that's coming out, these kids are fucked, dude.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, why even leave your room ever?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's gonna be crazy, and I don't know how to balance that like as a parent or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But that's gonna be really challenging.
Yeah.
Also, with like all this advancement that's happening right now with like Chat GPT and other stuff, it's like, how are we gonna catch cheating ever on any papers of any variety at all in any like K through 12? That's why me and Allie were like really considering doing like non-traditional schooling, like Waldorf style schooling, where you're like outside and stuff.
Yeah.
Or where they don't like grade you on essays and standardized testing. Because I'm like, dude, everyone's just gonna cheat anyway. Like, how are you gonna?
Yeah.
The fuck?
See, that's the thing that like, and I'm totally somebody who fell into this too, but like kids don't realize when they're going through the education process that it's not the information necessarily that we're trying to teach you. It's how to learn. It's how to study. It's how to write. It's how to think. You get so obsessed, especially because a lot of parents are this way. They're like, you need to get an A. You need to get an A.
Yeah.
So you don't care about the content of the material or the scientific process, the scientific method, or the process of coming up with an idea and writing a paragraph that's purely from your mind. You're just concerned about how do I get an A?
Right.
So then you just go on Spark Notes, you look up the answers, and then you cheat. And it's
you're on
like
Quizlet. You know, it's like, and the thing too, it's hard to raise like critical thinkers when you're like, I just gotta get an A. So like, however that's accomplished, I mean, who fucking cares?
Exactly. I mean, don't get me wrong. There is a skill in cheating and getting away with it.
Yeah.
Kind of like that Spartan-esque shit. I'm sure you've heard of this shit before, where like in Sparta, like ancient Sparta, stealing and like breaking the law was encouraged. And when you got caught doing something wrong, you didn't get punished for the crime of what you were doing. You got punished for being caught. It was getting caught that they were punishing you for. So like there is a certain skill in
yeah, it's like don't tattletale. Like that guy didn't get caught, so shut up.
Yeah, but also like, you know, have you ever heard that phrase, fortune favors the bold?
Yeah.
So, you know, part of that is that somebody who's bold needs to break the rules, you know? So I'm torn about what kind of kid I want to have, because on the one hand you think, I want my kid to listen to me. I want the kind of kid that like is easy to raise. So when I set rules, they listen. But
Yeah.
that kind of kid is going to grow up into an adult who listens to the rules. And that kind of adult is going to be easy to lead and easy to manipulate, especially by some kind of, dystopian government. So like there's a little bit of like rebelliousness and recklessness that you want bred into your children, that you thinking for yourself is this weird thing where like someone was just talking to me about this, where it's like, I want my kid to think for himself, but I don't want my kid to think for himself because I told him to think for himself. I want my kid to rebel against me and go against me because he's thinking for himself. And if he truly thinks for himself, he's going to end up agreeing with me in the long run because I think for myself.
But yeah, but it's like, do you want them to agree with you? Like,
No, I don't want them to agree with me for the sake of agreeing with me. But if I genuinely believe what I think is right, I came to that conclusion logically by thinking for myself. So if I teach my kid to think for themselves and to think logically rather than emotionally or authority or whatever, then naturally they will eventually, it won't be linear, but they'll go through their whole journey and then circle back and be like, oh shit, Dad.
The light bulb.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, well, if it's the same, because I feel like that's how, like, I feel like my parents gave me the tools where like I could be a good kid, but like I still rebelled. Like my parents knew I smoked weed and they didn't intercept it. The only time they've ever intercepted in any sort of like thing they felt like they needed to like intervene on, it's so weird. My parents do not go through my shit ever. This was in my sock drawer. And I'm in college. I'm in Saddleback, like community college, and then they, for whatever reason, I don't know if they had like some sort of spidey sense, they go through and find the little nug jug, and they talk like when I get home at like 9 o'clock after my classes or whatever. They're like, "Can we talk to you? Blah blah blah. We found this. Like, I'm not gonna tell you to flush it. You can have it if you want, but like, hey, listen, this is like a felony if you get caught with this or whatever." And then I was like, okay, well, I trade a fucking book that you guys bought, so I'll just fucking flush it. It's fine. I don't give a shit. And so I did, but I'm like. I feel like my parents never took like an active step to make me do a certain thing. They like gave me like I feel like they gave me like a code and were like, hey, just like don't do stupid shit, don't do this, like be respectful, like try to be a good person, whatever, that kind of stuff. And I don't even think I hope that I'm gonna be like the new and improved version of them, because I feel like there's some things that they did wrong that I didn't like. But at the same time, like, there's like a whole push right now for like you shouldn't interfere with your like children having tantrums, like they don't know how to express themselves and stuff like that. And like I feel like there's like gentle parenting, and then there's also like permissive parenting where you just don't correct at all, and then you're fucked. Yeah. So it's like a real delicate balance, because like I want you to freak out, and I want you to recognize like why you're freaking out. And I want you to be able to overcome why you're freaking out.
Yeah, and you can only know that freaking out is wrong if you do it.
Right.
Like if you start to freak out a little bit, and I'm like, don't fucking do that. You never get to the point to where you get there and you're like, oh, that was embarrassing. Yeah, that was stupid.
Well, I feel like it's weird because it goes back to like. There's also like the whole like school of thought of like the cry it out method versus like the pick them up every time they cry. And like me personally, I'm a firm believer of like you never let a baby cry it out, just because they're not developmentally advanced enough to like acknowledge that like children before like 2 years old don't self-regulate. They don't self-regulate their emotions, their temperatures, anything. So like if you let them just cry it out in their head, like just from like a biological standpoint, in my opinion, or in the science that I choose to believe in, they're thinking there's no one out here for me, and I'm all on my own, you know. Yeah. And there was an interesting study where they compared people who do cry it out versus people who like sleep with their babies or like just pick up their babies when they cry or whatever. They found that the children who were part of the cry it out method ended up fearing the night more than the children who weren't, and would often be in their bed up until 11 years of age, where that stopped at like 4 years old with the people who like picked up their children, because they didn't have an unconscious fear of like the night. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Well, and it's also, I think I've heard of this too, maybe it's a similar study or the same one, but when the cry it out method teaches you, especially when it's very young, it teaches that child that there is no help for you. There is no comfort for you when you are in a place of of despair, whereas comfort at a very early age teaches you that, yeah, you might be feeling shitty right now, but it will be okay.
Yeah.
There will be somebody there to help you through this.
Well, and there's this new saying that's going on like around a lot right now where it's dependence breeds independence, where it's like in the early stages, if you show them that there's like unfathomable support, that you're always going to be there, they'll take more chances. They feel more brave. They feel like they're more well equipped to handle, what life has to throw at them, because they're like, you know what, I got support. I got my people. They're there for me. They showed me how to be the person that I need to be. Whereas I feel like the other way, it's like it just breeds like anxiety, fear, like I don't know what to do. Like I feel you're always looking over your shoulder or whatever the case may be. And I get it, because like there's also those stories where people like come out of the cages and are, like were raised in such shitty circumstances, and so admirable that they were able to lift themselves up.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, it's like you want what's best for like your person.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, how many of those people are the exception rather than the rule?
Yeah.
But no, so mentioning that, like how like your parents took that approach of like they never told you like, hey, you can't do this, but they kind of gave you like guidelines or like a code to live by. How do you think that like personally from your experience, do you think that made you more bold or less bold? Because I remember the reason I asked, I remember we had a similar conversation one time to where like you said something along the lines of like, yeah, my parents never like gave me anything like, hey, you're not allowed to do this. So I was left in this position where it's like, I mean, I want to rebel, but you're not really punishing me for rebelling. So like, how do I rebel? Like,
Yeah.
How do you think that affected you as far as like your approach to like rules?
Well, I feel like it made me think of like what I actually want to do. Because like instead of being focused on like, oh, this is naughty, like the adrenaline spike of doing something that you shouldn't be doing, it was like more like, well, my parents don't really give a shit about this, and I don't really want to do this, so I'm not going to do this, unless there's like a lot of peer pressure, which is like something I definitely succumb to for sure. But I feel like it was like along the lines of like I didn't feel like I had to seek it out, which I feel like a lot of people that feel that they're trapped are like, I just need to seek something to escape, or I need to like. I want like fuck my parents. I want to like go do something crazy,
Yeah.
Where like in my eyes, well then that's the other thing too, where it's like I want my children to respect me, but I want them to gain that respect from, feeling that they can always talk to me. I don't want them to feel like they don't have someone to talk to. That would suck.
Yeah.
And it's like, I mean, just being like an authoritarian figure is hard on a kid, And then you're like, you go to school or you go somewhere where you don't feel like you can talk to anybody, and then you come home and you don't feel like you can talk to anybody. That's challenging.
Yeah. That's something that I've been thinking about a lot lately because, like I said, I mean, you have a kid now, but like we're thinking about having kids soon. And I am torn on that whole, like I mentioned, like fortune favors the bold. Like how do you teach the proper approach to boldness to a child? Because like personally, I've always been very, and I feel like because my mom was a law enforcement agent, I was very, very structured, kind of like pounded a little bit into a position, into submission. And it wasn't until my young adult and like current life where I started realizing that like you don't have to listen to the rules. You can break them. In fact, it's the people that break them that often are the ones who end up in charge because they broke the rules in order to be there, and then once they're there, they set the rules. So like, here's just like a little example. I'll give two quick examples. The other day, I needed some batteries, and I was in a rush. So I rushed to Target. I get the 9-volt batteries, and I'm waiting in line. There's a long ass line, of course, and like it wasn't until I was already in line that I realized like I could just walk out with this shit.
Yeah.
But I debated it. I seriously debated, like, should I just steal these batteries? $10. Target's never going to notice.
Yeah.
But I felt like, no, I'm against stealing. Like, I'm against that kind of shit.
Yeah.
Morally, it's not right to steal these batteries. And I waited in line like a bitch, and I paid $10 for those batteries. And I was torn because on the one hand, I feel good about myself for following the rules, but I also feel bad about myself for following the rules.
Yeah.
So another example is I was at dinner with a couple of my friends, and we were drunk at this point. We'd had a lot of drinks, and this subject of fortune favors the bold and the power of being bold came up, and our server hadn't been back for a while, and we were done. We were done with our drinks. We were done with our food, and I was like, yeah, like we could just fucking leave right now. Like that's what someone bold would do. And they were like, yeah, you're right. And they both got up and left. And and there was a moment where they're like, come on, let's go. And I was like, I know that this fucks over the server. The server is going to get in trouble.
Yeah.
You know? And I stayed.
Well, it's like also I guess you gotta think about like what defines like your boldness. It's like there's a thin line between like being bold and also like having integrity. You know, it's like, and I get it. It's like, okay, you could get away with more stuff figuratively that's against the law, or you could like disrupt something. You'd be disruptive, which in some cases is very advantageous. But it's also like, well, what kind of person do you want to be? And I feel like with kids, that's like really important. And it's like they can decide how they're gonna be in the long run, like later in life and stuff like that. But like as a child, I feel like you should like something that should be pushed is like, you know, try to do the right thing, if not for yourself. And I get it because you want your kid to be successful and not be walked all over.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, but at the same time, it's like you also want them to be like respected and like you want them to like. I feel like you want your kid to you want everyone like if they had their funeral everyone would have something good to say, you know what I mean? Like it's tough because I understand that aspect of it, but I'm also like you also want to raise people that you want to be around, you know what I mean? Like I wouldn't really want to be around a bunch of people who steal. That's why like a lot of the friends I had that did steal I'm not friends with anymore, you know, after a certain point. And like most of those friends got in precarious situations. Some of them made it out and some of them didn't, you know, but it's like I don't know, like I wouldn't teach them that. You can set like you can give them adversity in different ways, like sports.
I guess the thing, I mean, it's so far off down the line, I know I have time to figure it out, but that's why I'm trying to figure it out as best I can now, is because it's like on the one hand I know that I'm going to have to set rules for my kid and I'm going to want them to listen to them. But at the same time, I also know an important lesson for them to learn that I'd like to be at least a part of them learning and teaching to them is that some rules need to be broken. Yeah. So like if my kid asked me like, hey, Dad, I was waiting in line for batteries the other day. Should I have walked out or should I have not? I don't know.
I don't know. Is it going in a fucking ventilator that's going to kill somebody? Because if not, you should probably wait.
Well, that's the thing is it's like here's a Target can eat the fucking loss.
Oh, for sure.
If I went to David's house and I need a 9-volt battery and I see one sitting there, it's like, that's probably wrong.
Yeah, exactly. But where's that bleed over where it's like, oh, my friend's rich, I'll just steal from his shit, you know?
Exactly. You know, so see, that's the thing. That's the thing about being bold.
Yeah.
You know, it's I won't lie. There was a part of me that was envious of my friends when they got up and left. They didn't think twice about it. They're like, no, yeah, you're right. Let's leave. And I was like, oh man, I want to get up and walk out with you too, but I can't. And like, what's the correct choice to make? Should I change myself so that next time I can, or should I feel good about myself and next time still not walk out?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. And that's like something I hope my kid would bring to me and ask. And I could be like, well what do you think?
I also hope I have a fucking answer by the time they come and ask me.
I know. I mean, even you'll have to come up with it on the spot, you know? And I feel like half the thing is just stick by it, be consistent. Because the worst thing you can be for a kid is inconsistent, you know?
Yeah.
Inconsistent.
Yeah.
We are now.
Okay, we're recording.
Well, why we're not recording? Oh, okay, we're recording.
Say it. Say shit. I like getting shit off the record.
I was gonna say while we're not recording, let's just line up another beer and have it ready.
You want to slam this down?
Sure. I mean, I still have like more than half probably.
Yeah.
But
you just throw a straw in there for the shotgun.
Oh, dude, no.
I'm empty, so
we'll get you one right now.
Easy to drink when you're not doing the talking, you know.
Oh hell yeah.
You're sitting back. Our fucking what is your job called? Producing? Or like audio engineer or something. I don't know. I don't know what the title is, but this guy's just out here slamming beers while everyone else is.
All the shots.
While we're talking.
So where were we left off? We're talking about
something about the fortunes and the bold.
Yeah.
Or what was the expression?
Fortune favors the bold.
Fortune.
What were we talking about?
Oh, we were talking about the fact of cheating in school versus like.
Learning.
Just learning in general and how it's like cheating. There's something to say about people who can figure out ways to cheat and not get caught.
That's right.
And how that kind of
the A to make everyone else happy.
Right.
That's right. Okay. So, anyways, that general idea that like fortune favors the bold. That's a fucking concept old as time.
Yeah.
But-
Dude, and to leap into this, what's really crazy to me that makes it, I mean, even like has changed my view drastically, because I think, like I used to be like the fucking like hustle culture guy, like where I'm like, I feel like you just gotta work hard at something and then you'll do this thing and then get paid or whatever. Like I was like, my view has changed so much drastically where I'm like, no, you should try to work for, like, do something yourself, work for yourself, because you're never gonna love something as much as like your own thing. And then I changed to like, no, I think you should just put in a lot of work in sales and make a bunch of money and in 10 years retire. And like now it's like ever since I had Emerson, my views completely changed. Where I'm like, I just want as much possible time in the months where she's so tiny as possible.
Yeah.
And I don't care what I'm making as long as I can like, provide and put some stuff away and get by.
Yeah.
But then I also recognize that like as things get more expensive, as like she grows up, I'm gonna need to make more money.
Yeah.
But then I'm also like, well, I don't know if I want to do that, like, because like sales jobs are so like hunter mentality. Like they have this like it's such a brainwashing environment because you have to be brainwashed to just like get rejected every single day. You know what I mean? But it's like always this environment, and it's also like the capitalist view on it where you're like, I need, as a salesperson, you're the person that brings in all the money, and I want to strain as much sales juice out of you as I possibly can, so you make maximize my profits.
Yeah.
And then if there's like anything that's wrong with the environment or the company or the economy, it's like, no, it's not, it's your fault. You should work harder. This is the time you need to work harder. You need to make more calls. You need to do this. And it's like, bro, having a like 10 to 12 hour day is not intuitive to a happy family dynamic. Even if you are only working 4 days a week, or if you're working 7 days a week, it's like you need like and that's the thing that I feel like is hard with 9 to 5 these days, or even now it's 8 to 5. No one even has 9 to 5s. And if you're in sales, it's like 6:30 or 7:30 to 5, 6, 7, whatever you choose to do. It's over 10 hours usually. And it's like, think about having a kid. You wake up, you try to go to the gym before work, you go to work, you work your entire day, you come home at like 6, you make dinner, you do what you can with the baby, and then you go to bed. And it's like, even if that's only 4 days a week, there's like so much like stuff you're missing out on with your baby during the first year of their lives, where I'm like, that's crazy. I can't fathom like doing that. Which is weird, because I know other people have the exact opposite switch in their head where like, I need to work all the time so I can provide for my family. But I'm like, hey, and I saw it. Sorry, I'm ranting, but I like saw this fucking TikTok that really changed my perspective, where it's like, hey, when that baby grows up and you're dead, it's not gonna remember how hard you worked at work.
Exactly.
And that's the stuff that's hard to grasp, because you want to be able to provide for your family, but at the same time, they do not give a shit, especially when they're little.
What they will say. Yeah, exactly. You never hear that story about the kid who's like, oh, I know my dad was never there, but I know he worked hard.
Yeah.
The nice things that you hear is like, yeah, we didn't have everything growing up, and I'd go to my friend's house and they would have shit that I didn't have, but when I'd go home, I had love and support. My dad was always there. My mom was always there. They made time to be there for me physically. It's that classic story. You can give them the fucking world. You can give them the cars and the clothes and the mansions and shit. But if you're not there for them emotionally, they feel left out and like shitty about that. And then they grow up into being shitty people. Yeah.
And the thing too, it's like when you have a baby, the rate that they change is insane. Like every month, they look completely different than the month before in like size and development. Like watching Emerson start to like actually realize things, pick up things, like sit on her own butt and like start like rolling over, like just these like little changes that happen from 0 to 1. It's insane. And like to witness it, like you're like watching things like neurons start to fucking fire, and you're like, oh my god, this is crazy. Where most people get like, if you get paternity leave, like most in the U.S., it's like 1 to 2 weeks. In California, you're lucky enough where it's mandatory. You have to get 8 weeks. But in most of the other world, it's like 24 months. Like it's like 2 fucking years of paternity leave. And like I never would have I've always been so against like most like social programs, but I feel like my view's changing a lot just because I'm like, that would be so cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And now I'm getting to the point too where I'm like, I thought that if I didn't get cemented into a career at my age right now, and I wasn't somewhere for 10 years, so if I wanted to go that route, I'd be fucked. But the reality is you can get into anything at any age, at any time, if you want to do that. And, like, I don't even know if I want to do that anymore. Like, I feel like I'm having, like, a really, like, a quarter-life crisis that's sparked by having a child. And it's maybe the opposite of what, like, a logical, sane person would do. But I just feel like it's, I don't know. It's, like, so much more important to just have time.
Yeah. And what's so funny about how, like, how far social programming goes is that, like, I know people. I just the other day they were talking about this. They were talking about how one of them, he's like the manager or something, not the owner, but he's like high up in this construction company, and one of his employees just took paternity leave. And I think
you were mentioning that.
Yeah, it has something to do with like California's laws, or like if you take paternity leave, you're also required to like take your paid time off too, something like that, some weird shit. So the guy ends up taking like 3 or 4 months off, and they're all way pissed. They're all like, fucking paternity leave, what kind of bullshit is that? Like, we never had that when we were, like, I didn't get paternity leave when I had my daughter, my parents didn't get paternity leave, like, and we're just fine. But like,
isn't
it's
that
just
funny too, where like the previous generations always bitch about how soft we are. I'm like, dude, I feel like at this point, I know it might not seem like it, but we're trying to improve on things because technology has given a vast majority of people the ability to do that, you know? And that's what I was thinking with this fucking AI shit and everyone, how they're not gonna have like any jobs anymore pretty soon. It's gonna be insane.
I know, what do you need a graphic designer for if you could just go on Chat GPT?
Graphic designer, copywriter, code, like any software engineers are fucked.
It's funny because
like,
they thought they were set for the longest time.
I know, it's so funny because
learn to code.
Exactly, dude. It was so scarce, but now you just have technology where you just tell this thing to make exactly what you want, and it's like pretty fucking good.
Yeah,
and only gonna get better. I don't think they're screwed yet, but in 8 years, fucked.
Well, see,
for sure.
Talk about like previous generations thinking that we're like weak or soft or whatever for it. Like there's still a part of me that feels this way. Don't get me wrong, but for the longest time, I had come around to that like pure capitalist mentality of where capitalism is the best system that we have. You know, it's not perfect, but every other system has failed way more than capitalism has. Blah blah blah. But that was easy for me to say when I was younger, and I didn't have as much responsibility. I didn't have as much bills. A relatively part-time minimum wage job with tips, you know, was like paying my bills and more. You know, and I could go and do fun vacations and fancy dinners and nice clothes, and I had nothing. I, you know, could do whatever I wanted with my money. Right now, you know, 5, 6, 7 years later, and cost of living's gone up. Social things have changed. You know, we want to start getting ready to have our own kids someday. So now like, we're having to really, you know, itemize everything that we're buying and shit. Like, it's interesting to see how like I was so this way when it was convenient for me, but now that it's not convenient for me anymore, I'm noticing my mentality opening up more and more to like that more left-leaning social programming, social safety net kind of thing. Yeah, you know. So
well,
like,
it's funny because it's like it really is one of those things where like you are a certain way until you're in trouble or until you like see. Until there's like something that gets in the way of what you want to accomplish in your life, and then you're like, I'm sorry, but I don't think capitalism is going to fix this for me. Or when problems get too out of hand. And some would say like the problems you're having are because of programs or bills or things set in place that impede true capitalism or whatever. Yeah. Which I totally get, but it's like, okay, well, what's going to fix my life faster? You know what I mean? Like,
and what's funny too is that what also changes is your perspective on the other people. When when things are nice for you and you're pro-capitalist, and all the people bitching about capitalism, you're like, shut up, fucking pick yourself up by your bootstraps, grow up, you fucking weak bitch. And then now that you're all fucking, it's like, hey guys, so you know, fucking, we should all stand together, right? Yeah, don't sound so bad. See we talked about this last time, but like I'm not a socialist. I'm not into socialism, But if there was some, I feel like no one's ever implemented like or come up with like a like if we could do like some kind of like I don't know like maybe like national socialism or something like that. I don't know. Have you heard of that before?
National socialism.
Yeah. You know, we're not.
I don't know.
Oh. Yeah.
I can't tell if you're messing with me.
I just came up with it right now. We should you know. Yeah. But see, again, I'm just spitballing here. I'm just making this up as I go. I've never heard of this. It sounds pretty good though.
I don't think so.
I had you for a second there, dude.
No, you did. You did, bro. I was like, sign me up. Where's the petition?
Dude, you just gotta wake up now.
Wake up now,
You
dude.
just gotta wake up now.
No, but for real, back on like, there's one thing that about like the medicine aspect of it, like the socialized medicine.
Mm-hmm.
I always, and this is literally just from my parents being in my ear my entire life, where like, Obamacare is the worst. It's blah blah, and it probably is the worst, and it's probably this country specifically. But I also think there's something to say that the number one cause for bankruptcy is medical collections, and I'm like, that's insane.
What do you mean by that? Like, what,
like people can't pay their medical bills, so they have to file for bankruptcy.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
the number one cause for bankruptcy.
Yeah, that's gonna happen to me for sure.
Why? Did you get hurt recently?
No, I just don't have medical insurance.
Well, I mean, Medi-Cal for you would be free
State,
through the state.
like me.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
I'm on board.
I mean, all our taxes are paying for it anyways. You might as well take advantage. But I'm just saying, it's dumb. How we do it here is dumb, I think. But maybe, I don't know. I think the problem here is like the insurance companies and like big pharma just play such a role in your whole medical package that like you can't do socialized medicine here practically. But it is one of those things where like, well, why wouldn't it be a public good like roads or anything else or public schools? Like you get your education for free, you get your roads for free.
Yeah.
And they're shittier in other places, which is a problem of itself. But I'm like, I don't see the problem in having socialized medicine. And then if you want to pay for private practice, you can do that. If you want like that super sick cancer fucking researcher from Stanford. But like the thing that's tough is like, why do we have insurance agents? It like the entire insurance industry is like literally just a middleman between you and the doctor to like help you supposedly.
Yeah, it's a racket.
It's like but then they just like pay into each other. And
Yeah.
did you know insurance? All insurance companies like 70+% of their profits are from the government subsidies. So it's like without the government subsidizing these insurance companies, we wouldn't even have fucking insurance companies in the first place.
Well, that's what
So it's like I don't understand like what's going on.
I've always said this, or I've been saying this for a long time. Like, I feel like insurance is just the highest echelon of racketeering. It's legal racketeering.
Yeah, it's
If
complete. It's
someone
like
came up-
mafia.
Yeah, if
Like-
someone came up to you and said, "Hey, Grant, that's a really nice set of teeth you got there. It would really suck if something happened to them and you weren't able to pay for it.
Yeah.
So here's what I'll offer you. You're gonna pay me X amount of dollars a month, and just in case anything happens to your teeth, if and when it happens, I'll be there to take care of it." And then the best part is then when something does happen to your teeth, they go like, "Okay, as long as you pay over this, as long as it's past this certain amount, then I'll help." It's like,
Yeah.
well, what about all the money I've been giving you for the past
The dreaded
5 years?
deductible.
Yeah, exactly.
Like-
Like it's a fucking
It's
racket.
stupid.
Onto that because of Leo. So with his dental insurance, complete joke. It's
Yeah,
nothing.
it's nothing.
You're paying out of pocket. So his insurance technically covered like his silver, like steel, like stainless steel caps, but they wouldn't cover white caps because that's deemed as cosmetic.
Oh my
Or,
god.
you know, like,
God forbid you want your teeth to look like teeth. Like what the fuck, dude?
You could look like a pirate. Or
Exactly. I'm like,
evil.
that should just be the standard.
Yeah.
They shouldn't do the metal shit anymore. They should. The only caps you get are caps that look like fucking teeth,
Yeah,
dude.
That's big teeth for you right there.
Bro,
That's-
It's such bullshit, and that's why I'm like, the other
Just to
country.
go on to that, like,
Yeah.
we had to spend enough money to like be even like qualified or. Like,
It's
be
so
even,
dumb.
Like, oh, we'll pay the rest.
Well, and this is one
and
thing I will say about some bit, like when you get benefits through companies, the companies that will pay 100% of your health, dental, vision for you and your family, that's a fucking good benefit people don't think about.
Yeah.
With no deductibles and shit like that, they'll just pay for it. That's insane.
Yeah.
Like, because at my last company I was with, like, they paid like $250 of you, and then you had to pay 100% of like your family or whatever. But it's like $250 isn't that much because the overall package, like I was still getting like, I don't know, like close to like $100 to $200 taken out of the paycheck, and it's like that's a lot.
Yeah, oh yeah.
You know, that's like a significant amount on top of Social Security and all that other bullshit. So it's like it's crazy, and I'm like, I get the trade-off of like, oh, you're gonna have high taxes then. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm already getting the same amount of money probably taken out, unless I have a company that pays 100% health, dental, vision.
Yeah.
You know, or if you're an entrepreneur, it's like, oh, you're just fucked. There's no like the government subsidies suck.
Yeah.
But I don't
so
know.
We kind of talked about this a little bit on the last episode, but like the longer I live, the older I get, the more that I learn about not only our current circumstances, but looking at precedents from previous societies and shit like that. Like, I feel like the Matrix is coming true a lot faster than we expected, and it's very subtle because in the Matrix they're straight up in pods, being used to be a human battery. But like, I really feel like, I'm sure you've heard this before, like there have been like studies that show that like a corporation demonstrates the traits that a psychologist would be looking for in an individual human for psychopathy, lack of empathy, putting themselves above others, profits before others, lying, deceit, manipulation. This is what corporations do, and they get away with it because the corporation might be made up of and ran by individuals, but the direct responsibility of who's making this decision is diffused into the board of directors, the executives, and then underneath that the management, and then it all trickles down to where. So who's really at fault here for the putting their employees' needs and health and dental, vision, all these things last? Is it the CEO? Is it the managers? Is it the whole board of directors? You can't point a finger at anybody.
Yeah.
So they get away with treating people literally like cattle.
Yeah.
To where they will work you to death. No empathy, no concern for your health, both physical or mental. And then if you break down physically or mentally and you're no longer useful to them, it's like, we'll just replace you with some other broke bastard. Because there's no shortage of them.
One of what's crazy, I was thinking about this the other day, where I'm like, capitalism, when you open up a business, it's always like the goal is like bottomless growth. Like you just you want to grow, you always want to grow. Every year you should be growing. Profits should always be growing. But then I'm like, so is there just no like mode where you're just like sustainable, like where you're just like, this is enough money, I'll just keep doing what I'm doing. If I do grow, great, but if I'm not gonna like actively push for it, like if you were a small business and you were making like $350,000 profit each year, and like and say there's fluctuation between 350 to 400, that's a lot.
Oh yeah.
To some people that's like chump change. For like for a business that had 50 employees, that would probably be taking a loss because you're paying all these employees. But say you have like 3 people. You give two $60,000 salaries. You pocket the other like what 200 plus or whatever, and it's like, if that was enough, and you had like a fan base, or you had like some loyalty, or your customer acquisition was just enough to continue at that rate, it's like, do I need to be bigger? And I know it's like a lot of people, especially with like technology and how it's evolved, they want to look for that cash grab where they want to grow to a certain extent to just sell it off and then let someone else grow the shit out of it or whatever. But I was just thinking, I'm like, why is that like such a thing? It's all, and like, because people build, like, people don't even, when you're building a business, you don't even think about shareholders or anything like that. When you're a privately held business, you just think about your business, and you do it, and you hope to make money from it, and you're just continuing your business. But then, like, when it gets public, it goes into like stockholders and people investing. But then it's like, well, what is the appeal there? Yeah. Like, I'm confused. Like, you want to make, I get it with those people that are like really ambitious. They want to make the biggest, best thing in this one field, and they want to leave their mark on like society or whatever the case may be. They want to be the very best of fucking selling computers or whatever. But I'm like, for the vast majority of people, I'm like, what? I don't get it. And I guess maybe the fear is if someone sees you have like a successful small business, they'll just do it at a better scale, more efficiently, with more funding and more money, and then just drive you out of business.
Yeah. Well, first they'll
You know?
offer you the money to buy you out, and then if they
Right.
refuse, then it's like, well, fuck them, let's crush them.
Yeah.
That is psychopathic.
It is.
That is
Yeah.
like if an individual human being was doing that, you would think that person was a crazy person.
Yeah.
But because it's a business, and everyone knows, especially in our capitalistic system, like, well, businesses just want to make money. It's like, okay, but businesses exist in reality, and reality is shared with humanity. So at what point do we point out that humanity
It's
still
crazy.
exists? You know, like classic stories are like fucking like Tommy Shelby from Peaky Blinders, or like Daniel Day-Lewis's character from There Will Be Blood.
Mm-hmm.
They're well written so that they're kind of charismatic and you kind of like them a little bit, but
Yeah.
like ultimately, like the theme what you're supposed to take away from them is that like there's something sick about that individual. Like they never have enough, to the point where their family is suffering, to the point where people are dying, to the point where they are being deceitful and manipulative and killing people and fucking people over for the sake of even if it's something like leaving your mark. Like I
Yeah.
just want to leave my mark. It's like
That's a big one.
that's the
And it's also
textbook
weird.
definition of narcissism.
Yeah.
Like psychopathic narcissism, to where I will do anything to anybody regardless of the consequences, so
'Cause
long as
I want my legacy. Dude,
Exactly.
And to me personally, dumbest shit ever. Because in the blip of time, your legacy is gonna be null and void when the planet explodes and there's nothing fucking here.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, it's so weird. It's like even in 1,000 years, like people will talk about maybe Alexander the Great and shit
Mm-hmm.
like that. But there's gonna be like 90 other people that did it way better than Alexander the Great. Like, you know what I mean?
But
Like
the classic one that makes me think of is the Ozymandias statue. Do you know that kind of like that? There was like a long time ago, like the colonial era or something like that. These explorers, like they were traveling through like the Egyptian desert or whatever, and they came to the feet of the base of a giant statue. These feet were humongous, and inscripted on the bottom was, this isn't verbatim, but I am Ozymandias, King of Kings. Behold my wonders and despair. Behold my accomplishments and despair. You want to know what was there? Nothing. The feet of a broken statue and a bunch of fucking sand.
yeah.
That's your legacy.
Yeah.
You know, like
It's wild, and this is the thing too, where I'm like, it kind of goes back to, I don't know what like how careers are gonna evolve now, because I feel like there's so many people that just like feel like they're gonna be obsolete in some matter of the fact way, where it's like, why should I put like my blood, sweat, and tears into a company that I might, that's gonna fire me, or I'll be, whatever,
Easily
like there's
replaced.
there's like so many layoffs going on right now, and it's like, I'm curious to see how things are gonna evolve, because I'm like, I follow Andrew Yang on TikTok, and he popped up and he's like, remember that one guy that was like running for presidency and wanted to give everyone $1,000 and warn them about how AI was gonna take all their jobs? Who was that again? I was like, I'm like, dude, I feel you, dude, because it's like it's gonna get to a point where like I feel like all these jobs are gonna be taken, and there's gonna be not really a need, because you're gonna have so much cheap capital. Where you're not gonna have like universal basic income might be a thing that's like, oh well, this is like the obvious answer, because there's like things are just being made for us for pennies on the dollar. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm curious, because I'm like, I don't know how else do you slow progress down in AI just to save some people's jobs? Like, I don't know if that's the answer. That seems kind of stupid. Like,
Well, I think
it's like inevitable.
the thing is that the corporations that are pushing and funding the advancement of AI, like we've established, their main motive is profits. So
Yeah.
they're not concerned about what happens to humanity
No.
as a result of this quote unquote progress.
But
They
then we
think-
have a government that's bought out by those same corporations, so it's like, what? There's no check there at all.
Well,
I
so
mean,
so what's funny is, I'm sure you've heard me talk about it, or we've talked about it. Like I am quite obsessed with like that kind of dystopian future that we're heading towards, particularly the very, in my opinion, like accurate depictions in 1984 and in Brave New World. And 1984, written by George Orwell. George Orwell actually was super anti-capitalist. He based his predictions of the future off of a capitalism gone awry, because of what he didn't put it in the words that we have now, because these studies and this data hadn't come out yet. But he basically was saying like, capitalism is all about money and profit, regardless of what happens to the humanity and the human condition.
Right.
And what's funny is that capitalism is adjacent to corporatism, when corporatism is adjacent to fascism. Like what we saw in like Nazi Germany is the perfect example, because they straight up had they would write down blueprints of the most effective, like corporatized, systemized way to commit genocide.
Yeah.
Genocide has been endemic. That's been going on for all of human history.
Yeah.
But
they made it a business.
They straight up. And,
Yeah.
and then crazy shit like Operation Paperclip, where we took like the Nazi scientists to help us with our
Right.
rocket program.
Yep.
A lot of those people worked for this company called IG Farben. And IG Farben was a corporation who realized when the Nazis were coming to power, hey, there's a lot of money to be made here in chemical warfare. So if you sign contracts with us, we'll use our top scientists to maximize our profits by selling you poisons that can kill people. And then we're going to create blueprints for gas chambers, and hey, you can fit X amount of people in X amount of square space. You can kill this many people in this amount of time. So you can probably kill like 1 million a day. Like we think
Yeah.
we're so removed from that. We think like, oh yeah, that was then in World War II. That won't happen again. It's fucking happening now, but subtler. It's
Yeah.
happening slowly, brick by brick, and it's only going to be to where the common people like us are essentially obsolete, and they're trying to figure out, like, do we want to put them in a gas chamber or in a test tube to use them as a battery? Is it the Matrix, or is it World War III? Is it
Yeah.
Holocaust 2.0? Which is it?
Well-
Whatever makes us the most money.
And well, that's the funny part too, is like when like because like my dad's obviously like so right wing, and capitalism's like the best thing that's ever been invented since sliced bread, and it's like I don't know what the solution is, but I'm like real worried about like what do you do with that? Because I mean I agree, like I think capitalism's great to a certain extent, but there's like just because the way our government is, and maybe it would be different if lobbying didn't exist, if that was like something that like if you weren't able to donate to parties, and if like I think like if you didn't have to, if there was no money in politics at all, you weren't, and lobbying was illegal, and then also participants of the Congress and House of Representatives and the president couldn't trade, then maybe, because then I'm like, oh, what other incentives are there? And then also all terms end at 8 years or something, or a set amount. But then you get on the other side of the coin, then it's hard to long-term plan in any sort of capacity, because 8 years isn't very much. But
yeah.
you know, I mean, 8 years might be long enough to make a difference, rather than like these House of Reps that are like every 2 years or something, where I'm like, well, that year's ongoing campaigning, you know?
Yeah. Well, like the other thing too is balancing that with elected people who have term limits are playing this dance in tandem with these essentially secret police agencies, CIA, the FBI,
Yeah.
the NSA, all these agencies that they're not elected, they don't have term limits. Those people, I guarantee, I would bet all my money, the reason that these JFK documents keep getting pushed back further and further to being released is because there are people who are alive now, or whose children are alive now, who are probably still in these secret intelligence agencies, who were directly involved with the assassination of JFK. Because he was the one who realized, like, oh shit, there's a problem here.
Yeah.
There's this thing called the deep state that only cares about itself and its own power, and that power needs to be checked. Next thing you know, he gets his fucking head blown off in front of everybody.
Yeah.
Like that was not an accident.
Yeah, that's
It
like the
wasn't-
most prolific thing to happen to a U.S. president in history. I mean, a lot of presidents have been shot, but none of them, I mean, besides Abe Lincoln, like their head blown off.
And the thing is, they didn't assassinate him in that public form because it was the most convenient way to do it. There are a
Yeah.
lot more convenient ways to kill people. It
Oh,
was a
yeah.
message. It was a message to everybody alive then and everybody who came after him. Do not fuck with us. We have the power. We have all the information. We can do this shit and we can get away with it.
And then his brother.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you hear shit about how like people today they get suicided, you know, dead of 2 shots to the back of the head, suicide.
Yeah.
You know, like shit like that, and it's we're living in a scary time. Humanity has always been ugly and brutal and dangerous. Like I said, genocide, endemic, you know. But
Yeah.
but we're in a time to where the technology, like one of the conclusions I've come to re-listening to Brave New World in 1984, I think that we are living in 1984. I think 1984 has become and is becoming the reality, but it's cloaked in a wrapping of Brave New World. We think that we're in Brave New World where it's like, no, this is it. The dystopianism is that we're too utopian.
Right.
No, we're actually dystopian, but it's being wrapped up in this shiny box, this shiny package that's given to you. It's like, no, everything's great, everything's fine. You can just watch TV or you can just take drugs and everything's provided for you.
Okay, wait. I saw this. God, I hate being the fucking guy that's like, I saw this on TikTok. But this guy made such a good point, and I'm gonna steal it. I wish I knew your name, but he recently moved to I think Australia or something, but hasn't lived in the U.S. for like 10 years. He's kind of lived around different countries, and he was saying how in the U.S. like he was just saying like the reasons I left the U.S. and this is how I feel right now. He's like, first of all, all the food it makes my stomach hurt. It's all pumped with sugar. It's all overly processed, all that stuff. And then they push the idea of an individualistic society is good. And then he would kind of point out, it's like, well, it's a lot easier to control an individualistic society because it's a lot easier to control people when they don't have like a gang of people. This guy was like, I think from Italy of Italian descent, where he was saying, it's like, in Italy we have something called the social welfare. It's not a government program, but it's just in our culture where it's like we take care of our elders, we take care of the community, we take care of people. So it's like harder to like they like Italy would never get away with like serving the same kind of food. And in some countries over there, they like refuse to import U.S. goods because of how much processing goes into it. And it was the same kind of thing, which is like they convince you that you should work 40, 50 hours a week, be as productive as you can. And I think it's more of the corporations who convince us to do that so you can afford the nice things. But it's like, and I was talking to Austin about this the other day too. It's like, you're never going to ever make as much money as the people on top of that company, ever, And it's like, I think I'm all over the place right now, but I'm like, I it's weird because I'm like, I want to feel so patriotic, but I'm like, it does kind of seem like they're pushing this agenda that is also very advantageous for capitalism in order to keep you like divisive and like against your neighbor and not together, so that way they can control you with their public goods, and so you don't notice what the deep state's doing because you're so angry about inflation or something.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's like,
or the Little Mermaid being black.
Yeah, it's like no one really like, it's all distraction.
Yep.
But like in other countries, they're like living their lives, and I'm not saying that like they're like capitalism, socialism is like the best answer, but like it feels, less intense. I know I know it's hard. It's easier to say that because we kind of make all the stuff like innovatively. Like we make most of the world's media that people like consume. Yeah. So it's like it's kind of easy to be like, well, they don't have the same problems as us, so they don't have to like. That's why that is. But it's like, I don't know.
Yeah. No, I definitely feel like, it's obviously it's a blend. I've been very obsessed. Like I said, I've been obsessed with like this kind of like future dystopianism that we're slipping towards, and I think that those two books, 1984 and Brave New World, did a good job of like lining up kind of like different scenarios, but the distractions that you're talking about, I do think these corporations are sophisticated enough to know what they're doing. Disney, Netflix, Hulu, whatever. Like, it's not like there's a bunch of fucking dumb people running the corporations. That's what they want you to think. They want you like the people who are against it is like, yeah, it's just a bunch of the monkeys are running the zoo, a bunch of college students. They know exactly what they're fucking doing. Everything that they put out is designed very specifically so that it causes controversy and discord between people.
And doesn't that like that? And that's what ties into the aspect of like keeping people individualistic and divisive. It's like,
exactly,
it's crazy.
Like perfect example is like, did you hear about the Cleopatra documentary on Netflix? No. So Netflix put out a documentary executively produced by Jada Pinkett Smith about basically like the main like moral theme of the story was that Cleopatra was really black. Now okay, you can make Ariel black, you can make the Blue Fairy black. Right? They even went so far, this is a long time ago, but Netflix had a series about the Trojan War or whatever, where Achilles was black. But Achilles is kind of fictional. We think he exists, but we're not sure. But Cleopatra is a real historical figure.
Is she not black?
No, she's Macedonian. She's Greek. Yeah, she
not
was.
from Africa.
Yeah, she wasn't even Egyptian.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't know much about Cleopatra. I just
thought
kind of assumed she was from Egypt and was black.
No, yeah, so that's
Because
what they
Egypt
want.
isn't Africa, right?
That-
Yes. Egyptians are black,
Yeah,
right?
but even no, Egyptians.
No?
Africa is a very large continent. At the tip, North Africa, a lot of those people are what are they called? Not olive skin, but like copper skinned or whatever. They're relatively bronze skinned. Yeah, so even Egyptians don't typically. Your average Egyptian doesn't.
They're more
view
Middle
themselves as-
Eastern looking.
How
Yeah,
Indians
yeah.
are in Asia, but you wouldn't call an Indian person Asian.
Yeah, but like the
It's the whole race versus ethnicity kind of thing.
Yeah, and the huge like theme of the documentary
Is the
was
blackness.
that was that Cleopatra was really black. And what's funny is that I don't know if you know this, but Egyptian Egyptologists, Egyptian historians are very, very passionate and controlling over the subject. Like I'm sure you've heard of Graham Hancock,
Right, yeah, I
and
remember
so-
that
and they've
kind of
come
thing.
after him because
Yeah.
they're attacking him because he's rewriting or questioning their history and stuff. So they have a long established of like, no, this is the way that it is, and this is the way that it isn't. Our fucking story is the way that it is.
Right.
And so they were so upset that there was like petitions, thousands and thousands of people, like high level like professors and like historians and stuff like were attacking Netflix to the point where finally they didn't take it down, but they added because it wasn't like this when it first came out, but because it was being
Is it already out?
It's out right now. It was being advertised as a documentary.
Oh, so
about
now they had to do like a
Cleopatra.
fictionized.
Yeah, it said fictionalized
Yeah.
documentary. That wasn't there before. They had to fucking force that shit. So it's there's something playing underneath, behind the scenes, between the lines here that really rubbed me the wrong way, and I realized what it was. It's not about the race. It's about the rewriting of history, because this is a big lesson and takeaway from 1984 that I find very, very important. The main character, towards the end of the book, he gets put in a re-education center where they torture you to re-educate you to change your perception of reality. And the guy torturing him asks him, I'll ask you, Grant, do you think the past exists?
Yes.
Where does it exist?
In the past.
So where is this tangible, real, physical place that you can show me that the past exists?
A scar on my knee.
Okay, but how? But so you have a story how that scar came on your knee. Where did that scar come from?
I cut it on a surfboard fin.
Okay, can you prove that?
No.
So where would you? So for physical evidence, something like that. What other kind
Yeah.
of example of physical evidence of the past could you show me?
The Eiffel Tower.
Okay, but how so?
Well, it wasn't built today.
But I mean, where it came from? What can you show me where that thing from the past came from?
There's probably some blueprints.
Okay, so written records.
Yeah.
And what other kind of records are there of the past? There's written, and then there's,
Yeah, memory stories.
so there's written records, and there's human memory. Well, theoretically, if the party controls what the written records say, and I can torture you to the point where your memory says what I want it to say, is it fair to say that I can control the past, that the party can control the past?
Yeah, it's like Hunger Games.
Exactly. And that's it's a very interesting thing because you would like to think that reality exists, that there is a real thing of the past, that no matter what you say, it happened that way. But if the only evidence of the past exists in these things that can be manipulated, then the past itself can be manipulated. The past itself can be controlled. And he who controls the past controls the present, and he who controls the present controls the future. And that's what I see happening right now. I don't give a shit if the Little Mermaid is white or black or has dreadlocks or not.
And one that's funny too is like Cruz texts me, we're gonna talk about Little Mermaid. I'm like, oh fuck. I mean, he didn't really say that. He's like, we're not gonna talk about Little Mermaid. And I'm like, dude, I don't give a shit.
Well, here,
But it's so funny.
Here's something to break the. Like you said, we'll come back to a lighter subject, but I know exactly.
I need
what...
more additional libations.
David, search Hitler reacts to Cleopatra.
Oh, that's beautiful.
I'll grab some drinks.
Thank you, sir.
Only beers? Are you All right. So here's one reaction to the Cleopatra documentary.
There was a time long ago when women ruled with unparalleled power as warriors, queens, mothers of nations. And there is none among them more iconic than Cleopatra.
I would die for Egypt. What would you die for?
I am Isis. I am a god.
As long
Was she
as
British?
she's alive, she is the pharaoh.
She still speaks with a European accent.
Julius Caesar is aware that Cleopatra is one of the best educated women in the Mediterranean.
He wants to be king to Cleopatra's queen.
There is no future without the past.
She was using these relationships with Mark Antony to protect herself and her country.
There is no Rome without Egypt.
The high-ranking officials are
Cleopatra
nervous.
was trying to save the country that she loved from destruction.
I did what I
Wait,
had
Julius
to do
Caesar was
to
around during
protect what is
Cleopatra?
mine.
Yeah, they were lovers.
This is
they had a
some
kid together.
woman exercising power.
Whoa, really?
Yeah. Caesarius, I
Cleopatra
think
was
his
a
name is.
Ptolemaic
Caesar.
I'm not-
Literally,
The
that
very
translates
first
to Little
Ptolemy
Caesar.
is a general of Alexander the
That's
Great.
wild. I'm not
Possible
familiar
that
with
she was
that
an Egyptian.
time in history.
her to have curly hair like me and a similar skin color.
I
That's fascinating.
remember my grandmother saying to me, I don't care what they tell you in school, Cleopatra was black.
She has become an icon.
I am a god. Queen of kings.
Her story resonates with every woman.
Cruz like every week.
Cruz, Hitler.
Es bleiben im Raum Keitel, Jode, Krebs und Butter.
These are the boys.
Just want to have you guys over for a podcast.
Das war ein Befehl! Der Angriff Steiners war ein Befehl! Wer schickt Sie? Dass Sie es wagen, sich mein Befehl zu widersetzen! So weit ist das also gekommen. Das Militär hat mich belogen! Jeder hat mich belogen, sogar die SS! Die gesamte Generalität ist nichts weiter als ein Haufen niederträchtiger, treuloser Feiglinge!
Mein Führer, ich kann nicht zulassen, dass die Soldaten, die für Sie verbringen...
Nicht als Feiglinge! Verreiter, Versager!
Mein Führer, was Sie da sagen, ist ungeheuerlich.
Die Generalität ist das Geschmeiß des deutschen Volkes! Sie ist ohne Ehre! Sie nennen sich Generale, weil Sie Jahre auf Militärakademien zugebracht haben, nur um zu lernen, wie man Messer und Gabel hält!
There's no black.
Jahrelang hat das Militär meine Aktionen nur behindert! Es hat mir jeden nur ersichtlichen Widerstand in den Weg gelegt! Ich hätte gut daran getan! Von Jahren alle höheren Offiziere liquidieren zu lassen, wie Stalin!
Stalin.
That was perfectly
Ich war
edited.
nie auf der Akademie. Und doch habe ich allein ganz Europa erobert. Verräter! Von allem Anfang an bin ich so verraten und betrogen worden. Es wurde ein ungeheurer Verrat geübt an die deutschen Volke. Aber alle diese Verräter werden bezahlen. Mit ihrem eigenen Blut werden sie bezahlen. Sie werden das saufen in ihrem eigenen Blut.
Bitte gerne. Jetzt beruhig dich doch.
Meine Befehle sind in den Wind gesprochen. Es ist unmöglich, unter diesen Umständen zu führen. Es ist aus. Der Krieg ist verloren.
He doesn't like it. That guy's nervous.
Aber wenn Sie, meine Herren, glauben, dass ich deswegen Berlin verlasse, irren Sie sich gewaltig. Jag ist mir eine Kugel durch den Kopf.
Oh man.
That's so funny. Yeah, burp so bad. It's coming.
Let's hear it. Do it for the camera.
I'm not like that anymore. I was younger then. I don't burp in front of cameras anymore.
You don't pull Martin. Dude, Mark Norman goes full on like fart on the
Fart on the mic?
Yeah.
I know, dude.
Please don't do that.
Your mom.
I don't know which one's which. They're not labeled, so I could end up with yours next time.
That's why you gotta get your own mic, like your mom's house. They have a fart mic specifically for people to fart in. You know the amount of famous people that probably fart on that mic.
You probably sell for it. I was just gonna say you probably sell that for a lot.
Dude, I guess Taylor Swift's contacts fell off during a concert, and they're selling for like $30,000 a piece on eBay.
Jesus. What kind of? Oh God.
Could you imagine being that famous? You could like sell a jizz rag. It would just go for like $100,000. Like Tom Brady's jizz rag. All these like girls trying to get pregnant.
Could you imagine being the kind of person who would buy that?
Yeah. I can't. No, I mean it's crazy.
Said you can.
I know I can't. I mean, sometimes I'll see like Pawn Stars, and people will have like these really sick like shoes that Kobe Bryant played his last game in or something, and I'm like, that's sick. I could see someone like, if you authenticate that, buying that. If you just had like a surplus of money for no goddamn reason, you're like, that's really cool. But then it's like those obscure items where you're like, I have this napkin that Chris Pratt signed. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
He's like, no. He blew his nose in this napkin. So that's Chris Pratt's booger. It's like
clone this guy now.
Yeah, it's like
that's kind of true.
Like, kindly fuck off, dude. I'm not doing that. Like, what the fuck? That's the weirdest shit I've ever heard.
Oh my god. Or like how some chicks will literally sell their farts. Like they'll fart in a jar.
Dude.
You know the gamer like bathwater?
Hey, they say that.
Oh god.
Oh, you don't know.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
They say that,
I can guess.
I know people talk about the pay gap, but what about the foot pick pay gap? How many picks have you guys? How much money have you made by selling feet picks? How much money have you made by selling farts? Not a dime.
Because that shit's all off the record, dude. That's why. It's like fucking. That's.
I
like,
know, but do you think there's a market for male foot picks? Probably, but I mean, it's probably like not enough to like monetize your life.
Dad, here's my foot.
Yeah,
I'm sure there is, but I'm like just disgusted by imagining the client base.
Yeah,
who's buying? Because like, oh
dude,
God.
there's it's funny. I always wonder too. Like, I want to know a breakdown by country because I want to know like really how freaky like each country is. Like, is this a U.S. thing where we're all just a bunch of fucking weirdos, or like are they buying like all this stuff in like everywhere?
Dude,
everywhere.
I've always heard that stereotype that like Germans are known for like shitting on each other, at least in porn, like German shit porn.
Wow. I've watched like Your Mom's House has like those exclusives where they like go, like you pay for it, it's off YouTube, so they like show like really disgusting videos. And there was one I watched where they were like, dude, it was like shit porn, and this was like the gnarliest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. Like I couldn't watch. I was like, they were like just shitting everywhere. I don't know how they got so much shit for the film. Like it was something they probably had to plan for. There's just so much shit, and they were like in a dark like by a dumpster, and it was just like it was the grossest thing I've ever seen. On that same thing, I saw this lady getting like fingered with a knife.
Oh God.
Oh.
Yeah,
crazy.
Dude, that Facebook page I was telling you about, sometimes it'll be like fucking like someone cutting their dick
Cruz,
off.
you gotta unsubscribe. This is just insane that you follow this page and are okay with it. Like, that's insane. If Tiffany hasn't seen that page you follow and is not concerned, that is alarming.
I tell her about it.
It's so weird. Why do you follow that, dude? Oh man.
Anyway, on a lighter note. No, but back to the beginning here. We were talking about your origin story, little quick bio for Grant.
The birth of Grant.
Yeah, so
I remember being birthed. I reared down. It was a foggy afternoon. I'm just kidding. I don't even know what time I was born. I forget.
Yeah, me neither.
The fucking Skyrim meme, just like, you're awake.
Yeah, exactly. And that happened when I was like 10. Oh.
Do you even remember? Because I don't. Like, at least, like, our first time we ever met. Do you even remember meeting for the first time?
I don't remember meeting for the first time, but I remember, like, seeing you around for the first time, where I was, like... Dude, I remember being, like, not starstruck, but I was, like, Oh, God, Cruz so cool. Like what the fuck? He's like a year older than me. And then once I was friends with like Cody Marr and stuff, then I was like, oh, okay, like these guys are all faggots. No, I'm just kidding.
That's right.
No, but I remember like I'm trying to remember because like obviously we wrestled, but I feel like even when I wrestled, I wasn't like friends with you until I don't know how.
What happened was the first time we hung out.
When was that?
I think we were all hanging out as a group, and then everyone else left, and it was just you and me. And I was like, "You want to go back to my house and play Call of Duty?"
Oh, okay, I do remember that.
And then we just stayed up
because
all
you got the
long.
nuke with Rangers, and I was asleep.
Yeah, Akimbo Rangers.
And I was like, no, because we were playing like all night, and then I fell asleep. And he's like, dude, I did it. I did it. Rangers on Afghan or whatever.
Yeah. We fucking pulled an all-nighter playing Modern Warfare. Oh, man. And that's something I wanted to ask you about too, because I don't know if we've ever talked about it. Because like I said, like we said, you were I was a grade above you. Tell me what your senior season was like, because I wasn't really there for that. I didn't get to experience your final wrestling season.
It was weird because it was weird because like everyone I liked was gone. I feel like that's not true, but a lot of people I liked were gone. So we had like it felt weird being the oldest people. You know, because it was kind of nice, like being a younger classman and then like fighting for your spot, and like people maybe didn't expect you to get a spot or did or whatever. But then when you're like a senior, everyone just like expects you to like win. And like, I mean, luckily for me, it worked out. But I feel like it was like strange just seeing like where everyone fell, and then but it was kind of cool because everyone who was in the lineup, like we had a lot of seniors in that lineup, like Nick Swanson, Austin. Me, Arian, like Nick until he got hurt.
Yeah, that was unfortunate.
Yeah, and then like Minafar, Trevor, Dalton, like a lot of like that was like probably the most senior lineup of people like in a while, because for whatever reason, like a lot of the wrestlers, like there'd just be like, especially in the lower weight class, a lot of like lower classmen. Like I mean, you were like a varsity your sophomore year or whatever, or freshman, so it's like there was less of that, and there wasn't that many new people joining that were like good. I feel like, but which made it fun kind of, but then also we weren't that good either. Like Austin was pretty good, and then he had that awesome upset where he like upset the Laguna Hills guy.
Yeah, Mills.
Yeah. And then I mean I guess then we had Minafar, and then tragically what happened to Dalton. But I think it was just interesting, I guess. It was weird. Weird being the top dogs now, you know?
Yeah.
But it was also weird because I feel like I bet he was kind of over it. And
yeah, I feel like
less invested. A lot of the coaches actually were, I feel like, less invested in us than previous years.
Yeah, I feel like that was they weren't totally checked out because like they had been with you for so long, but I feel like that was the beginning of the decline. Did you ever wrestle one of the Valencia brothers?
No, I wrestled Aaron Pico.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
I wrestled Aaron Pico. That shit sucked. That's so bad, dude.
Yeah. Well, dude, if it makes you feel better, he beat the shit out of me too.
Hey, oh my god, dude, that guy's a monster.
Yeah.
Like he was just so vicious. I remember like in our match, like he's like pushing me out of bounds. He literally pushed me at the door, like way fucking out of bounds.
Yeah.
And then I wrestled the guy that you beat at the Halloween Open in CIF.
Oh, Dominguez.
That's
right.
That's who I wrestled him, and then I lost to him, and then I lost the match to Place at CIF, which fucking sucked.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, because I it's such a blur because it was so long ago, and that was like I was right out of high school. I was like smoking weed, selling weed. You know? It's just like a hate.
I remember like you, like Nick, because he was like out because of the injury. I remember being like, God, fuck these guys. I just want to party. I'm so fucking over this, dude. Like, none of my friends are here. Really, I mean, they are. All of my friends are there at the time, but I'm like, I don't really want to do this anymore. But then I was also like, no. Mental toughness,
yeah,
you know.
That's what I always really appreciated and like respected about you, and still do, is because I you know we were wrestling partners my senior year. You were my training partner, and I always loved that. Is that like you never complained, you never bitched out, you know, like you always like no matter how, because we had some fucking hard practices.
Yeah,
we had some like do you remember that time? Bobby Schofield on like Wednesday or whatever is like, I'm coming to practice on Friday, and if I have my shoes on before you guys, we're running sprints. And we get to practice early, and he's already like he came during lunch.
Yeah,
like, he came so
Like,
He
early.
made sure that he was there before everybody. And he had us doing sprints before practice. And I don't know about you, but I will always remember I just kept looking at the door. I just kept being like, dude, I could just fucking walk out of here. Like, I could, like, this is such bullshit. Like, I just fucking want to walk out so goddamn bad. But I didn't, you know? And I feel like you were similar in that mentality where it's like, embrace the grind. You know? It sucks now, but it'll be worth it in the long run, you know, regardless of where it ends up. Like, your hard work and your effort will be rewarded some way or another.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I've ever said it, but I really appreciate that from you and having found that in you. You know,
yeah.
I feel like it really kept me, you know, pushing myself and trying hard. So.
Yeah. It's hard too, because I'm like, I wish I could like harness that mentality now. You know what I mean? Because I feel like, God, it was like that shit was just so hard and awesome, but I want that same like feeling again. You know, I feel like it's hard now because like I don't believe in something as much as I believe in like my want to like be good at that thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, oh God, I wish I could just. You
That's
you can. It's in you somewhere.
You've done it.
Yeah, and like going back to what we were talking about earlier about like losing weight or like just getting in shape or whatever the case may be, it's like we know we can do it and we've done it before and we know what it takes. But it's like I wish like I had that like that durability. One thing I will say is like that I love about wrestling is, and Allie will say this too, is like no matter how long I take a break from running, when I run again, I never stop. Like no matter what. Like if I decide I'm gonna like go on a run, I do not walk at any given point, even if I'm like going uphill or anything, just from wrestling. Where I'm like, I feel like I'm so conditioned for life where I'm like, I just never need to take a break. I'll run slower for sure.
Yeah.
But I'm never gonna stop running.
Yeah, totally.
You know?
Yeah.
Like it's so weird how that one thing like really clicked where I'm like, no. We said we're gonna run. We didn't say we're gonna walk.
Yeah.
We're fucking running.
Yeah.
You know, like.
Yeah, totally. And I even remember when you first started. I think it was Lone Depot when you started working there, where it was like crazy hours. Like what was it, like 6 days a week?
Yeah, it was like
10-hour days.
2 6 days a week, the other 5 days a week, and then the schedules were always like they changed so much, but they were either like 7 to 5, 8 to 6, or 9 to 7. Plus or minus a half hour to an hour, because they would always it was like a running joke where like, hey, guess what, overtime's approved. Like anyone who wants to work overtime. And it's like our shifts were already like our shifts alone were just you got an hour overtime no matter what. And then they're like, if you want to work, like you can work more, which like in some aspects if you're like hurting for cash, cool. But then it's also like, no, I just want to go home.
Well, then talk about just wanting to go home, got your eyes on the door, I could just walk out.
Yeah, totally.
I remember talking to you about that, like, how are you doing, man? Like it sounds like a grind. I wouldn't want to do that. Like, how are you doing? And your answer, I always remember your answer is like, well, it's not wrestling season.
Yeah, dude.
At least I get to eat.
Yep.
You know, and that's what I love about, you know, wrestling, and Dan Gable's quote, once you've wrestled, everything else in life is easy.
Yeah.
Is that it really does stick with you in that sense. That is something that you take away from it, where it's like, I know I can do this.
Yeah.
It's going to be hard and it's going to suck, but it's not wrestling season.
Yep.
Anything but wrestling season. You know, I have I told you the story about when I got lost at Flogging Molly with Alex O'Brien?
No.
So I went to go see Flogging Molly with Alex O'Brien at Paula Casino, somewhere out in the desert.
Okay.
Like California Casino, but it's like, you know, like in the middle of nowhere.
Like inland San Diego
area.
Yeah.
And we got a hotel room that was not close to the casino, so we had to get Ubered there.
Yeah.
And you know, it's Flogging Molly. I got shit-faced. I got super fucking drunk. So drunk to the point I lost Alex. The concert's over. Somehow I end up in the employee smoking section. And I'm just smoking a cigarette. We'd bummed like a pack of cigarettes from somebody or whatever. And like someone comes up to me and is like, hey, who are you? And I'm like, oh, I work here. I'm wearing like a bright green flannel.
Yeah, of course.
And like jeans. Like,
bright ass colors.
Yeah, I'm like naughty.
And it's like, oh, well, you're definitely fired because you're shit faced.
Yeah.
And you don't work here.
And they're like, no, you don't. I was like, yeah, I'm the new guy. And they were like, get the fuck out of here. So they ended up throwing me out of the casino. So they throw me out, and I'm hammered. Like I'm retarded drunk. And my phone's dead.
Of course.
So I can't get a hold of Alex.
God, dude.
I don't know if he's still there anymore. It's been so long. So I walk to the front entrance of like the parking lot to the casino, and I'm like, I look left and I look right, and it's just like a highway, a desert highway, nighttime, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure we got our car pulled in from the right. So I just start walking, and I just start walking the direction of where I remember our Uber taking us. And no joke, this sounds like some old shit your grandpa would say, but it was uphill the entire way. I walked for 10 fucking miles uphill.
You walked 10 miles?
I walked 10. I fucking mapped it. Wasted. And
Did Alex leave you?
So I don't know this because my phone's dead, but he's looking for me the whole time at the casino. He's going to the security guards, and he's going to the fucking dealers, and he's going to people who he recognizes from the concert. He's like, hey, have you seen my friend? He has a picture of me and shit. Have you seen my friend? So and I'm just walking for 10 fucking miles. I'm walking uphill to the point where I'm wasted. I haven't drinking any water. I'm super dehydrated. I'm super fucking tired. There are a couple times where I felt like I fell to my knees and like laid down on the ground. It was like, dude, I'm gonna fucking die. I'm gonna die out here. And I'm
wasn't the casino open 24/7? Couldn't you just
they
say
kicked
that?
me out.
Oh,
they kicked
my
me
God.
like they kicked me out. Where like you can't come back because I think I got like pissed when I think I was like,
what do you mean I don't work here?
Yeah, exactly.
Cruz, I bust my ass working here.
I've been here for 10 fucking years.
You know how many? I cannot believe this. Where's Jim?
You turned it on with that guy next to you. I trained this guy.
Oh, that's the best part. There was a guy who was there, an employee who I remember his face from the smoking section. I was trying to hitchhike up the hill, and he pulled over to help me, and he recognized me. He's like, "Oh no, fuck you," and left me. so I'm
funny, dude.
So and the best part is that it's pitch black. There's no lights. There's no lights.
I'd be terrified. You're crazy.
And I just hear coyotes. I just hear coyotes just howling, packs and packs of coyotes. And this is what made me think of it, is that like I wanted to give up so badly. Like my brain was seriously like, dude, I might fucking die. I might die right now. But I was like, fuck that, dude. It ain't wrestling. It ain't wrestling, dude. So I just kept fucking. I kept going. Finally, I get to the top of the hill. It's like a slight decline. And finally, I reach a gas station. And there's people filling up their cars. I'm like, can I please borrow your phone? Several people tell me to fuck off. They won't even let me borrow their phone. Finally, this guy is like sketched out, but he's like, yeah, I'll let you borrow my phone. He lets me call Tiffany. And it's so fun. Imagine this guy's perspective. This sweaty, drunken, haggard-looking idiot comes stumbling up to you at the gas station.
Can I borrow your phone?
Can I borrow your phone? And then I need to call my wife. So I call Tiffany. I'm like, yeah, they kicked me out of Paula Casino. I need you to come pick me up.
Wait, Tiffany picks you up?
So she was busy, so she didn't pick me up, but she called Alex. She told him my location. He ended up coming and getting me. But it's just so funny. Like, imagine this guy sees me, like, all retarded coming and be like, they kicked me out of the casino. I need to call my wife. I don't have my phone. I don't have any money.
You after, like, asking for other people.
Exactly.
Dude, want to know a similar thing that happened to me where, like, I had a good deed that was very rewarded one time. I was on my way when my parents owned the surf shop, and I used to stop at Whole Foods in Laguna just to get like a coffee and like some snacks. And I'd go, and I was walking out, and I'm like walking back to my car, and I see this like girl that just reeks of alcohol. She's like probably like late 30s, maybe early 40s. And then she approaches me and she's like, "Hey, I just got out of jail. Can you give me a ride home? I live in the canyon. Like, I got really drunk last night. They threw me in jail for a night. Like, she just reeked of booze, and like there's like bruises all over her legs and stuff. Like, she just looked like a wreck."
Oh no.
And then like part of me is like, I'm gonna get murdered. But then she was like, "Listen, I'll give you $100 when I get home. Please, can you just give me a ride home?" So I give her a ride home. And I'm going in the canyon, and then I drop her off, and she's like, "Okay, just wait 1 minute, I'll go in and get the money." I'm like, "I'm gonna get my ass beat. They're gonna steal my car. This is crazy."
I got a dude.
But I'm like, it's so funny because I'm like, well, I've already came this far, so let's just like see what happens. And then sure enough, she does come out and give me $100, and I was like, whoa, this is crazy. This is the first person I've ever fucking picked up and like sent home. And then the funniest part was I was all stressed out because I'm like late to open up the shop. And then I pull up and fucking David's there. And he already opened it up. I got my day mixed up or whatever. And I was like, oh, this works out perfectly. I just like drove this bitch, got coffee, and then got $100 for no reason.
That's so funny. Dude, did I ever tell you about the time I think I told you the story, but I got stuck giving this chick a ride all over, and she ended up fucking paying me back.
That's bizarre, dude. That's like some weird movie shit.
I know. So
let's hear it.
This is one of my. I think it might have been your senior year. It was one of my first years coaching. Like a year or two. Like I'm like fresh out
Cruz
of high
is a
school.
young buck in his prime.
Yeah, and I'm about to pull into the high school, and some lady. I'm gonna be honest, she wasn't that good looking. She was, she's white and blonde, so that's good enough for me. Skinny, but she looked, especially in retrospect, probably.
She looked like she might have resided in like Hesperia or Apple Valley.
Exactly. Or fucking a Hemet.
Hemet, yeah. She looked like a lot like David's family.
A cousin?
David's like, bro, you shouldn't talk about my auntie like that.
No, so she comes. I'm stopped at a stop. I'm literally across. At the intersection, if I go straight, I'm at the high school. And I'm waiting at a stoplight, and she comes in and is like, hey, like, I need a ride. Can you give me a ride to Ocean Ranch? And I'm like, yeah, sure, it's right there. So I let her in my car, I drive her to Ocean Ranch. She gets on her phone, something happened. She's like, oh, like, I need another ride. Can you give me a ride to here? And she just keeps asking me. It's like a fucking video game, dude. like a bizarre Elder Scrolls quest. She keeps asking me for more rides farther and farther into like.
It's like, hey, can you tell your friend to fucking stop? And like,
First
why
was
is she
Ocean
moving?
Ranch, then it was Laguna Niguel. Then it was Mission Viejo.
Shit.
Then it was Laguna Hills. And then finally, so like.
And sure enough, I'm in San Francisco.
Yeah. So finally, she has me outside of this house. This like sketchy looking. I mean, it was a home in like a nice neighborhood, but like the house looked all dilapidated, like the long shit.
Shitty house.
The one shitty house in the neighborhood, exactly. And she was like, she was sitting in my passenger. I think she said she was gonna give me money. But I wasn't gonna ask for it, Like I wasn't like I just wanted her. At this point, I was like, "Get the fuck out of my! Leave me alone."
Yeah.
And she was like, "I don't have any money, but like I can suck your dick." And I was like, "Okay." And she fucking just sucked my dick in the car outside.
And that's how you get herpes.
That actually might have been my first blowjob. Besides like a girlfriend, It was my first like strange blowjob.
Like one off.
Yeah. And this is back when for the longest time I couldn't come for some reason
Did you with her?
No.
Yeah, I did.
I had to pretend. I had to fake. I had to be like, oh, it's happening, and then I grabbed like some tissues and put it on top and was like, oh, it's happening. Oh yeah.
It's like, bitch, I know you're not. Like, dude,
don't know.
is there
stupid?
Is there something that happens when you're from like 19 to like 20? I feel like there's always like a spur of time where you're like, why can't I come when I'm like having sex with anybody?
Mm-hmm.
Like I felt so bad because I was like when I was single from like 19 or like 18 to 20, so I had a good like 2 years, and like I feel like not every, but a lot of girls that I had interactions with, I like could not come or like would like get soft, and I was like, dude, why is this happening to me right now?
Yeah.
This fucking sucks.
I'd be curious, like as strange as this is to say, like I'd love to ask like a grandparent or like someone pre-internet times if that happened to them too.
Yeah, like it has to do with like porn or something.
Yeah, like it's like, did I get so conditioned to coming at like this level of stimulation that like when it's just a normal interaction I can't? Because
I think for me personally, I feel like it's like an intimacy thing where like
yeah,
I feel like it's hard to get hard for people that like I don't vibe with on like a mental basis, which is like, it sounds like super lame because I know.
Are you gay?
Are you homosexual?
Why are you gay?
Why are you gay? Insert clip. No, but for real, it's like it is challenging. Like I felt like for a lot of like sexual interactions, one night stands, one like to even get that comfortable, often I was like drunk, and then like once it got that far, I'm like, I just don't vibe.
Yeah.
No,
straight up. There was a girl that I dated in high school for like a year, and like, we had plenty of our sexual interactions, and I only came one time when we were like, we'd done all it, blowjob, sex, all that shit, and like I would always have to like kind of like fake it and like pretend like, oh yeah, I'm gonna pull out, or yeah, I'm done, and pretend like I did. The only time I came was fucking New Year's Eve. Her family let us drink. We got to drink some champagne, and then I went back to her house to spend the night, and then we were having sex, and like, you know when you're getting close and you're like you want to keep it in as long as possible, and it's like, okay, I'm about to pull out. Okay, now I'm about to pull out, and then next thing you know, it's like, oh shit, I'm starting. Oh, that's yeah.
I'm not pulling out.
yeah. And it was raw dog too. So that's like, I feel like that was a really like crystallizing moment for me because I was immediately so horrified. Like, I really do not want to have a kid with this chick. We got a plan B. It was fine.
Yeah, dude, God bless Plan B. I think it's outrageous that other states are outlawing that shit, dude. It's anyway. But one what's funny too is like for some reason, I don't know if you think this. I feel like a lot of guys might think this, but like I feel like I thought I was like infertile, and then I turns out I'm very, very fertile. And I'm like, I don't know why I thought that, but I just thought it would like be hard to get pregnant, and it was not. Because I always hear like there's a lot of people even our age that like have trouble conceiving, or it takes like months and months and months, and it was just not like that at all. And I'm like, I don't know why, but part of me was like, I think I'm infertile.
That's
like,
funny. I
wore skinny pants, and I remember my 5th grade science, or like my science teacher was like, skinny jeans kills sperm count. I'm like, yep, that did. I'm pretty sure I'm infertile now. Yeah, exactly. I'm like, I've had my laptop on my balls at least 7 times, so I think I'm definitely infertile now.
Got my laptop on my balls in the jacuzzi while wearing tidy whities. I'm fucked.
Wait, jacuzzis are bad too? Oh, chalk that up, dude.
I've heard that. This is what makes me nervous is that I've heard, and I think this is bullshit because so many people smoke weed, but I've heard that smoking weed can be bad for you.
Yeah, definitely bullshit.
Yeah,
I mean, it might not be, but also I think there's like, it's one of those things. I'm trying to compare it to another study that's like that. Like, let's just say fitness, where it's like so ambiguous, and there's different
fitness dick in your mouth.
Hey.
I'm sorry. I had
to. God, dude, I haven't heard that since I fell off my dinosaur.
Go on.
Anyway, now that the children have left the podcast, I feel like you know how fitness is ambiguous. Like everyone does these different diets, and some people it works for whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's the same thing with like sperm count, where like if you already have a sperm problem, weed's probably bad for you. But if you don't have a sperm problem, weed's probably fine.
Yeah.
And also, like, why does it kill your sperm count? And does cigarettes kill your sperm count? Probably.
Yeah.
But a lot of people who smoke have fucking children.
I don't think it kills your sperm count, but I've heard that it's just like it like makes them like they swim in circles, you know.
Makes your kids retarded.
Yeah, they fucking have 2 heads, you know.
Your kids are lazy.
Yeah, man.
Could you imagine having twins your first go around? You're like, fuck.
I would love that. That's a dream.
You want
come
twins?
True. Oh yeah.
I wanted that too. Yeah.
You guys are nuts, dude. I don't know how you have you've had a baby. I don't know how you have 1 baby and you're like, no, this would be way easier with 2. That's insane to me. People think they want twins, but I feel like that'd be so difficult. Imagine your car.
No, I'm under no illusions that it's gonna be easy. But dude, twins run it in my family and in Tiffany's family. Allegedly, it skips a generation. Her grandparents were twins. My grandparents were twins. I would love.
You guys are getting twins for sure. 100%.
Dream come true.
I heard the longer you wait, the more likely.
It is, yeah.
Like,
if you wait more when 35 plus, you have way better odds of being twins.
Ooh.
Not saying if you want to wait
yeah, we're not gonna wait that long, but no, I would love to get some twins going because the way that I see it is that like if one of them dies, you still got another one.
Oh, fuck.
I mean,
dude, I was thinking
you could just fuck again.
No, it's the same one. It's genetically identical. You know what I mean?
What if one's a boy, one's a girl?
Well, then hopefully the girl dies.
Dude, I'm like
social credit.
Then all of a sudden, I'm a little bit more open to the whole trans thing. It's like, no, you're a boy. You're a boy, just like your brother used to be.
Honestly, I feel like it'd be easier having a girl, dude. But we're coming up on time, so I want to have a clean wrap.
Yeah.
I want to be able to take a piss and chug one more beer with you gentlemen. So.
Yeah. Alrighty. Well, we're starting to hit the end of the podcast here. Last round. We'll make it quick. Quick one for the boys.
For the boys.
Hey, cheers, my friends.
Cheers, mates.
Cheers.
Hey, thank you so much for coming through, Mr. Grant. I know you're a busy man with the new baby, the family, and all that. I did have something actually I did want to touch on. Important question that's come up a couple times on the podcast. I want to get your opinion on it. Pizza or burgers?
Yes, I know this question from your previous podcast, and I feel like I've given it a lot of thought. And, you know, if you asked me earlier when I was younger, I might have said hamburgers.
Interesting.
But I just feel like the versatility in pizza, and also the fact that, like, a burger is such a, like, it's such a plain note, I feel like, in my opinion. Like, I feel like, you know, you do your burgers and stuff, but there's so many different types of pizzas. Deep dish, thin crust,
Barbecue chicken, breakfast
pizza,
dessert
pizza. I don't know. I've always just liked pizza better, honestly.
Okay.
As far as burgers go, like all I do is get in and out. I'm not like a burger connoisseur, and then even in that realm, I'm like more of a chicken burger kind of guy anyway. So I think pizza is just naturally my decision. What's been the consensus? Are most people pizza or
so
burgers?
far I'm getting pizza because here's the thing.
You're burgers though for sure.
No,
right?
I'm pizza.
Oh, you're pizza.
No, I'm pizza.
Yeah.
So originally what I said is that it's like the laziness thing. Like I want something that I can eat with my hands, but like a burger, it can like fall apart on you. Like it's just one thing.
It's perfected. It can be so simple or so complex.
Yeah.
Like I could have a cheese pizza and I'd be like, oh, this is good. I could have a deluxe pizza. I'm like, damn, this is a lot. You know, like it's just like the way you can dress it up, you know?
And the way that it's made, the ingredients kind of get baked into it. So like I could be jerking off and eating pizza at the same time.
Yeah.
You can't eat a burger and jerk off at the same time.
Shit's falling apart. Like
exactly, it's falling on your chest and shit, and tomato juice and stuff. Here's the thing that I love about pizza.
New OnlyFans.
I got
an idea.
I didn't make this up. I forget where I heard it, but here's the thing about pizza. Pizza is just like sex. Even when it's bad, it's still pretty good. As long as no one's forcing you to have it.
Yep. Cruz's corner, everybody.
Alrighty, well, hey, like I said at the beginning, man, you know, I wanted to have you on early on because you're one of my main men, fucking best man at my wedding, best man at your wedding, wrestling partner, you know, best friend, one of my best friends of all time for sure.
I know, I have to be back soon. I feel like we barely touched on anything.
Oh, yeah.
You know, there's like so much to go down the rabbit hole with.
I feel like we talked, everything we talked about wasn't on the list of possible topics.
I know.
Which is
I had a feeling we weren't going to hit any sort of list, you know?
I wouldn't have it any other way. That's how you know this shit's organic, it's real, and, you know, hey, it is what it is. So, I hope you enjoyed. You have anything to leave off on, Grant? Any words of wisdom? Any shout-outs or anything like that?
No. I mean, thanks for having me. Don't eat the yellow snow, and have a beautiful day.
Shout out though, seriously, we didn't even get a chance to talk about it. Your only current familial side hustle is Emerson
Candles. Yep. So handmade beeswax candles. EmersonCandles.com. That's my only plug.
You're on Instagram.
Right now.
Anything else?
Instagram. I don't know. Pinterest.
Are you on Pinterest?
We're on Pinterest and Instagram. I guess those are like the main ones. But yeah, give us a follow. Check them out.
Yep, they're really nice. They're really pretty. My wife really wanted to get some, so she did. She's looking forward to lighting those bad boys up. Again, thank you for joining me, man. This has been a lot of fun. If you enjoyed, please make sure to hit like and subscribe. It really goes a long way. Just click that button. It's really that simple. You don't have
smash
to
it.
Yeah, smash that button. You don't have to watch any of my videos. You don't have to watch anything that gets recommended to you, but just being a subscriber helps. So please do that if you don't mind, if you haven't already. And yeah, that's that. Till next time, folks. Outro go.